Xia Yan broke his leg saving Lu Jingjing, but afterwards, he insisted it was to save me. I believed him, married him, and spent 10 years caring for him and helping him recover. The first thing he did when he could stand again was go find Lu Jingjing. The two of them rekindled their old flame. He threw a divorce agreement at me with a condescending air, saying, "If it weren't for saving you, I wouldn't have broken my leg. I forgive you for what happened back then. Consider these past 10 years your penance. Now, you should set me free." On the way to finalize the paperwork, I got into a car accident. It was only as my spirit floated above that I finally learned the truth. The moment I opened my eyes, I found myself reborn 5 minutes before the earthquake. 1. Yunwan, don't be so ungrateful. Xia Yan stood before me, holding Lu Jingjing, and flung a document in my direction from across the room. I looked at his perfectly intact legs and gave a bitter smile. For 10 years, I did everything I could to help him walk again. I was there for every step of his recovery, acting as his crutch, putting up with his bad moods, and carefully offering him comfort. I scoured nearly every resource available, tirelessly encouraging him not to give up, and accompanying him through treatment after treatment. The day he finally stood on his own 2 feet, my joy was immeasurable. But I never expected that the very next day, he would turn around and fly overseas to find Lu Jingjing, the woman who had dumped him in a heartbeat and vanished without a trace after he broke his leg. Why do you still love her? When she cast you aside like a piece of trash, why is it that I gave you everything, yet you could hurt me like this? It's his birthday today. He only texted me saying he'd come back, but I had no idea he was bringing Lu Jingjing with him. It was only at this moment that I realized how foolish I had been. If it weren't for saving you, I wouldn't have lost my leg. I've forgiven you for what happened back then. Consider these past 10 years as your penance. Now, it's time you set me free. The only person I have ever loved is Jingjing. Then what was the point of all our past intimacy and solemn vows? He was tormented by leg pain, unable to sleep day or night. I would apply hot compresses to his wound over and over. Back then, he would stroke my face, weeping bitterly, saying he was sorry for dragging me down. While I was cleaning up the shards of things he smashed in a fit of anger, he apologized to me, pleading with me in a pitiful voice not to leave him. He would hold me at night, asking me over and over if I would ever leave him, refusing to sleep until he got a firm no, and on a beautiful, sunny afternoon, he would take my hand and say, "Having you is the greatest fortune of my life." I glanced around the room. Xia Yan's parents were awkwardly avoiding my gaze. Xia Jiajiao stepped forward in displeasure, grabbing Lu Jingjing's sleeve. "Brother, why are you wasting your breath on her? She's just the help, your caretaker. She's getting ideas above her station. Just kick her out already." Lu Jingjing gently stroked her face and smiled. "Don't say that. Wan has taken care of Ian for so many years, even if it wasn't perfect. She put in the effort. We should still be grateful." Her eyes held a look of disdain and smug satisfaction, as if mocking my incompetence. Xia Yan let out a cold, derisive snort. "Don't worry, you won't be shortchanged on the divorce settlement. My sister is just too kind-hearted. Some people should take a good look at themselves in the mirror. Are they even worthy of my brother? If it weren't for you, he and Sister Jingjing wouldn't have been apart for all these years. Besides, if my brother hadn't broken his leg, do you really think someone like you could have ever been with him? Know your place. You've had him for 10 years. You should be grateful." Ha! In that instant, the only word that flashed through my mind was absurd. I slowly raised my head to meet Xia Yan's gaze and softly said, "All right." Xia Yan frowned. I picked up the divorce papers from the floor. "I'll meet you at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow at 10. Xia Yan seemed taken aback by how easily I agreed, eyeing me with suspicion. A smirk played on my lips. "Miss this chance, and I might just change my mind. Then you and Lu Jingjing will forever be known as the despicable, cheating pair." Xia Yan's face darkened instantly. Through gritted teeth, he said, 10 o'clock. "You'd better keep your word." Of course, I walked out of the Xia residence without a shred of sentimentality, catching a glimpse of my own reflection in the swimming pool by chance. Wrinkles had already begun to etch a face that should still be young, and strands of hair framing the cheeks showed the faint, early traces of gray. Only 30 years old, yet they looked as if they were in their 40s or 50s, standing next to Xia Yan and Lu Jingjing. The age difference was stark, as if they belonged to separate generations. All of this, I owe to Xia Yan. He drank my blood, devoured my youth, and squeezed my life dry, only to cast me aside as lightly as one discards trash. In his dreams, I paid off what I owed him over the past 10 years. What he owes me, however, won't be settled so easily. I pulled out my phone, called someone I knew, and then headed home. The next day, Xia Yan came to pick me up by car, The car was bought for me by the Xia family, but it was always used to chauffeur Xia Yan around, wherever he needed to go. I had to carry him from upstairs to downstairs, and from outside the car into it. He was holding a grudge and deliberately refused to live in a building with an elevator. Instead, he chose a 6-story walk-up. And every single time, I was the one who had to carry him up and down those stairs, never once complaining. Even later, when his attitude toward me had softened, he still wouldn't move to a spacious luxury apartment in the city center. This was his way of torturing me, of playing the victim, making it impossible for me to let him go. Once in the car, I looked at the completely refurbished interior and pressed my lips together in silence. Xia Yan glanced at me in the rearview mirror and snorted. Jingjing said all that stuff was outdated, tacky, and tasteless, so we replaced it all. The money I gave you is enough to buy a new car. I lowered my eyes and stayed silent. As we got onto the overpass, I stared out the window, my mind drifting back to our wedding day. I had been so happy when I got the red marriage certificate, but the moment we stepped outside, Xia Yan started yelling at the staff, accusing them of looking down on him. That day, looking at his furious face, a sudden wave of exhaustion washed over me. I didn't say a word. Seeing my silence, he cautiously took my hand and asked, Wan, I'll stop, okay? Please don't be angry. From today on, we're family. Aren't you happy? A single sentence was all it took to deflate me completely. Xia Yan, I'll give you my life as compensation, and you'll give me yours in return, I muttered to myself, and Xia Yan, not hearing clearly, turned to ask what I had said. I smiled at the oncoming truck. Xia Yan stomped on the brake in terror, but it was useless. In that split second, he thought of me, his eyes widening in sheer horror. Yunwan, with a deafening whoosh of air, a wave of pain sent my world spinning. I forced my eyes open and saw Xia Yan, covered in blood. In the rearview mirror, my own reflection stared back. I wasn't faring any better. Xia Yan, if I could do it all over again, I'd rather you had never saved me. Xia Yan, struggling to free himself, let out a cold, mocking laugh. Yunwan, you wish, let me set the record straight. I didn't lose my leg saving you. I was trying to save Jingjing. You just happened to be close by when the rescuers dug us out. After Jingjing was rescued, she begged me not to tell the truth. She was worried the guilt would affect her upcoming exams, so I said it was you I saved. Did you ever stop to think why I would pay such a price for you? You're not worth it. In an instant, it all became crystal clear. I thought of how cold and dismissive Xia Yan was to me back then, of the scornful look in his eyes whenever they met my shy, tentative gaze. You lied to me. You actually lied to me, I screamed. You've been lying to me for 13 years, to be honest. I never thought you'd be this stupid, Xia Yan said, utterly unfazed, but as a maid, you've been quite satisfactory. Don't worry, I'll burn plenty of joss paper for you after you're dead. He had already unbuckled his seatbelt, bracing his hands to climb out. Thanks to his past rehabilitation training, he was remarkably agile now, clutching the lighter in my coat. I glared at him viciously. Xia Yan, you're dying with me. With that, I flicked the lighter to life and, under his horrified gaze, held it to the gasoline. 2-1-1. Are you daydreaming? The old man's called your name a few times now. I looked up instinctively, meeting the gaze of old Baldy Chen at the front of the classroom. Old Baldy Chen was my homeroom teacher in high school. He got that nickname because of his receding hairline, but he was actually a really good guy. During the earthquake, he risked his life running back into the building over and over to save people. It was his determination that saved me and Xia Yan. Yunwan, come up to the board and solve this problem. I stood up, looked at the unfamiliar math problem on the blackboard, and blurted out, Teacher, do you believe in prophets? He frowned. I only believe in light. The whole class burst into laughter. I quickly raised my wrist. My watch read 3:30 p.m. on June 14, 2008. The earthquake was only 5 minutes away. My scalp instantly prickled with dread. I turned to look at Xia Yan, who was asleep with his head on the desk in the very last row. What are you staring at? Yunwan, let me tell you something. You could look at Xia Yan 1,000 times, and he still wouldn't be yours. But if you look at a math problem 1,000 times, it will definitely help you score points on the college entrance exam. Don't you believe me? Baldy Chen rapped his knuckles on the desk in disapproval. I took a deep breath. Teacher, I need to use the restroom. I've got my period. Baldy Chen was dumbstruck, a suspicious flush creeping across his dark face. He waved a hand urgently. Go, now. Ignoring the laughter behind me, I bolted out of the classroom and made a beeline for the 3rd floor. If I remember correctly, there's a fire alarm right outside the principal's office. I reached the 3rd floor and glanced at my watch. For minutes, I clenched my fist and smashed it down without hesitation. Instantly, The fire alarm blared, and angry shouts erupted from the principal's office. Hiding by the stairwell, I watched him run out, scanning the area. Seeing no one, a look of suspicion crossed his face. The sound of students' footsteps began to swell. Whether it was real or not, nobody was going to miss such a perfect, legitimate excuse to skip class. The principal thought for a moment, then ran back inside, over the PA system. He yelled for all homeroom teachers to immediately take roll and lead their students to the field. They'd call the fire department only after confirming the source. I ran down the hall back to the second floor and headed straight for Lu Jingjing's classroom. Grabbing a classmate, I asked, "Where's Lu Jingjing?" The person who was caught answered distractedly, "He went to the restroom." My eyes lit up. This was a gift from the heavens. Rushing to the women's restroom at the end of the corridor, I heard Lu Jingjing's voice. "Is anyone there? What's going on?" Perfect. I slammed the door shut, locked it, then yanked out the key and tossed it into the hallway. The small key wasn't very conspicuous in the empty, silent corridor at that moment. Then I went back to the classroom, and sure enough, Xia Yan was still asleep. He was always a loner and didn't get along with others. Actually, in my past life, the reason I ended up near him was because I had gone back to try and wake him. I was already heading downstairs when I thought of Xia Yan, so I turned back. Then I ran into Lu Jingjing, who had come looking for Xia Yan, and the three of us ended up buried together, leaning against the doorframe. I wanted to wait and see the outcome of our previous life, but Xia Yan stirred, looked up in confusion, and seemed momentarily stunned to find no one there. He then started to step out. "That won't do, Xia Yan, there's a fire. I just heard it's near the women's restroom. We need to get out of here." Startled, Xia Yan pulled out his phone. After a quick glance, he furrowed his brow and shoved my hand away. "Get lost." With a long stride, he took off running toward the women's restroom. I stood where I was and smiled. Given a second chance, I couldn't have it both ways, letting Xia Yan break his leg or saving him. Anyway, there's plenty of time ahead. I gave him a chance. Whether it brings fortune or disaster is up to his fate. In the end, it has nothing to do with me. I turned and dashed toward the sports field, only to run into Bald Chin rushing back just as I reached the building's entrance. Seeing me, he visibly let out a sigh of relief. "Let's go. What are you standing there for?" With that, he grabbed my arm and we started running. A wave of warmth washed over me. The earthquake's impact zone was actually quite limited. Our school bore the brunt of the city's damage, simply because everyone was caught off guard and chaos ensued. Now, with this second chance, I just hope everything goes smoothly. The ground started shaking almost the moment the head teacher and I reached the playground. The classes had just finished roll call and hadn't yet sent anyone into the school building to check the source of the fire. When the shaking hit, after a brief moment of panic, everyone chose to stay put. Teachers were shouting for everyone to watch their step and not run, while some frightened students sat on the ground, clinging tightly to their classmates' arms. Suddenly, the head teacher's expression turned severe. "Where's Xia Yan? Has anyone seen Xia Yan?" 3. The students exchanged bewildered glances. Baldy Chin immediately turned to rush back. I grabbed his arm to stop him. "Sir, I saw Xia Yan on my way out. He said he was going to look for Lu Jingjing." "Oh. Lu Jingjing from our class isn't here either." Just then, Lu Jingjing's homeroom teacher also called out. Baldy Chin looked grave. "Do you know where they are?" "I think Lu Jingjing was in the restroom. I went there and found it was occupied, so I went to the third floor. After that, I don't know." Baldy Chin still wanted to go in when the ground suddenly shook, causing him to stumble and fall. I quickly rushed over to help him up. "Teacher, please don't rush, we've all evacuated." So the building is empty now. If they've regrouped and want to get out, they still have time, but if you go in now and can't find them, what if something happens to you? The tremors aren't strong right now, they still have time to run. The other students chimed in, all talking at once. "Yeah, that's right, we're all out here now. So the hallways are clear, it'll be easy for them to get out. There's no point in you going in. Teacher, you might as well wait here. The girls' restroom is on the second floor, they'll probably be out soon." I looked down, feeling a pang of regret. I should have thrown the key farther away. Persuaded by the others, Baldy Chin stopped in his tracks, but his eyes kept drifting back toward the school building. The other students started gossiping about the two of them. "You have to admit, Xia Yan's feelings for Lu Jingjing are the real deal, right? Thinking of his girlfriend even in such a critical moment. Didn't they say they weren't dating before? The innocent campus belle and the rich, domineering school bully, what a perfect couple to ship. After this, I bet their bond is stronger than ever." "Yun Wan, you actually went back to find Xia Yan afterward?" Bald Chin suddenly turned to me. I was taken aback. and an idea popped into my head. With a hurt and aggrieved look on my face, I said, yeah, I saw everyone had run off. I was afraid Xia Yan might have fallen asleep and didn't know what was happening. I ran into him right at the classroom door. I told him there was a fire and to run, but he just glanced at his phone, shoved me away, told me to get lost, and then walked off. Bald Chen sighed, speaking with deep sincerity. Yunwan, once you get to university, you'll find there are plenty of good men in this world, and even more at a good university. There's no need to tie yourself to just one tree. You're still young, it's better to focus your mind on your studies. Don't do something so dangerous again. If the sky falls, your teacher is here to hold it up. My eyes stung, and I truly began to cry. In my past life, after the incident, I dropped out of school to take care of Xia Yan. Bald Chen held my application in silence for a long time, then gently advised me not to throw my whole life away just to repay a debt of gratitude. I stubbornly went my own way and didn't listen to him. They say that for the next 13 years, he kept an eye on me constantly, always asking about how I was doing at every class reunion. He even called me, but I never picked up. I was too ashamed to answer. Old Baldy Chen never gave up on me, but I ended up letting him down. Don't worry, teacher, I've figured it out. You can't force someone to like you. Since Xia Yan chose Lu Jingjing at a time like this, it proves his feelings are real. I won't be a third wheel. Bald Chen looked surprised. You've really thought it through. I nodded emphatically. From now on, I'm going to study hard, get into a good university, and meet the kind of great guys the teachers are always talking about. The classmates around us joined in with good-natured teasing. It's about time. Yunwan, you're pretty and smart. Xia Yan just has no taste. Seriously, what do you even see in him, besides being good-looking and having a bit of money? He's got nothing going for him, you know. It's funny, some good Samaritan decided to play with fire at school, and by some twist of fate, it actually saved our skins. You don't think they're a time traveler, do you? Or stuck in a loop? Maybe they went through this a bunch of times and finally managed to save us. Ha ha ha. The next second, the sound of the collapsing building silenced everyone. The massive teaching building collapsed with a thunderous crash, and everyone felt as if the air had been sucked from their lungs. The head teacher's gaze was fixed, and he forced out the words with difficulty. Xia Yan and Lu Jingjing, they didn't make it out. I lowered my head to hide a smile that was about to spill over. Even the heavens are on my side. I can't wait to see what fate has in store for them this time. When Xia Yan and Lu Jingjing were dug out, they were still locked in a tight embrace. Xia Yan had shielded Lu Jingjing beneath him, and the broken pieces of stone had almost all fallen on him. His spine was crushed, his legs were broken, and he was condemned to a wheelchair for life, a fate even worse than his last one, because no matter how hard he tried, he would never be able to stand again. When I heard the news, I almost felt like setting off a few strings of firecrackers in celebration. It's just that the classmates who visited the hospital started giving me strange looks afterward. And even Baldy Chen called me into his office for a talking to. Just focus on your studies for now. Don't go to the hospital unless you have to. Xia Yan isn't going to die. What's going on? I asked, confused. Baldy Chen hesitated, then said, it seems like the shock was too much for him. He's lost his mind. Are you out of your mind? My head was full of questions. Only after I repeatedly promised I wouldn't go to the hospital did Baldy Chen let me leave. I ran into Su Lu right after leaving the office. The moment she saw me, she grabbed me, her face full of relief. Thank goodness. You're okay. Su Lu was a dear friend of mine. When everything fell apart in my past life, she happened to be abroad seeing her mother for the last time. By the time she returned, I had already dropped out of school. She called me many times and, just like my teachers, tried to talk sense into me over and over, but I never listened. Seeing her again in this life, a wave of warmth washed over my heart. You're back so soon. I finished up over there. I heard about the earthquake. So I came back to check on things. I'm fine, don't worry. So, Xia Yan, she glanced around, then pulled me furtively into a corner. Tell me the truth. You weren't with him when the earthquake hit, were you? Of course not. I was on the sports field. All the other students and the teachers saw me there. That's a relief, she sighed. Xia Yan seems to have lost his mind. The moment he woke up, he was frantically asking for you. He kept saying he saved your life, so you can't just abandon him. He even demanded you drop out of school to take care of him, help him find doctors, and all that. My heart skipped a beat. That story of his, what else did he say? He said, I only broke my leg, so why can't I even sit up now? So that's how it is. So he's back too. A slow smile spread across my face. Perfect. Now I can really let loose and kick him while he's down, with no reservations at all. This Xia Yan, everyone saw him protecting Lu Qingqing that day, and now he's trying to pin the blame on you and force you into a corner. How come he never mentions that Lu Qingqing didn't visit him even once while he was in the hospital? You have no idea. People were even taking pictures of them back then. All for the sake of their epic, earth-shattering love story. Just as we were talking, Lu Qingqing walked over, her hair disheveled, eyes red and swollen, with a bandage wrapped around her forehead. Her eyes lit up when she saw me, and she rushed over, dropping to her knees with a thud. Wan, I'm begging you, please go see Xia Yan. He keeps calling your name, even in his delirium. He can't live without you. Didn't Xia Yan save your life? You can't be so ungrateful. If it weren't for you, he wouldn't be in this state. Weren't you always in love with him? Now that he's been crippled saving you, are you just going to abandon him? I saw the crowd of people chasing after her, cameras flashing nonstop, perfectly complimenting her pitiful, heart-wrenching expression. It's incredibly impactful. Miss Yun, do you really think you can treat your savior like this and not face any consequences? Does your conscience not trouble you at all? That boy gave you everything. How can a heartless, ungrateful wretch like you have the nerve? I watched Lu Qingqing crying so pitifully, but I didn't miss the flash of smugness in her eyes. Seriously, has no one told this idiot the truth? 5. I stared at Lu Qingqing speechlessly, then slowly began to speak. I think you might be mistaken. On the day of the earthquake, I was on the sports field with the other students. All the teachers and classmates can vouch for that. And Xia Yan got hurt trying to save you. When the rescue team dug you both out, he was shielding you with his body. Someone even took a photo and posted it. What, haven't you seen it? Lu Qingqing's face drained of all color. How is that possible? She cried out. Lu Qingqing, why do you look so disappointed? I retorted. Could it be you're throwing a tantrum because you can't pawn Xia Yan off on me? He risked his life to save you. You can't just turn your back on him now. If it weren't for you, he wouldn't be in this state. Didn't you always have feelings for him? Now that he's been crippled saving you, are you just going to abandon him? I repeated her own words back to her. And Lu Qingqing was instantly left speechless. Exactly, Lu Qingqing. Weren't you just going on and on a moment ago? That day, Yunwan called out to him, but Xia Yan pushed past her to go straight to you. That kind of devotion is truly moving. The people behind her exchanged glances and began whispering among themselves. What the hell? She's accusing people without even knowing the full story. She's just desperate to pin the blame on someone else to save her own skin. How vile. For someone so young. She's got a truly wicked heart. Lu Qingqing flushed red again and shrieked. I don't care. I'm still so young. I won't take care of a cripple. I never asked him to save me. Why should I be blamed for what happened to him? I took a step back, watching her with concern as she continued to stir the pot. But if it weren't for saving you, Xia Yan could have gotten out. Lu Qingqing frantically covered her ears. It wasn't me. I had nothing to do with it. Then she ran off, crying. The people she brought with her exchanged glances before stepping forward. Classmate, could you tell us exactly what happened on the day of the earthquake? Of course. With a bright smile, I launched into a vivid and animated account of the earthquake. I made a particular point of emphasizing how Xia Yan shook me off to go rescue Lu Qingqing. A reporter raised a question. You went to the restroom. Are you saying you didn't see Lu Qingqing and had to ask your classmates? My heart skipped a beat, but I kept a straight face. I really didn't see her. I was secretly on my phone and didn't hear a thing. I lowered my head, feigning embarrassment. We're not allowed to have phones at school. I hide mine and sneak in some short videos during bathroom breaks. Please don't tell my teacher. Okay, the reporter smiled and asked. I see. So why were you concerned about Lu Qingqing? I sighed. I ran into one of Lu Qingqing's classmates when I came out, so I just asked casually. After all, at school, aside from Xia Yan, she's the one I care about most, but from now on, neither of them needs my concern anymore. I never imagined things would turn out this way. After saying that, I put on a helpless and slightly embarrassed act, pleading with them, please don't air this part. If my mom sees it, she'll kill me. After they agreed, they didn't leave until they had gathered satisfactory material. Thanks to Lu Qingqing making a deliberate scene, many of my classmates spoke up in my favor, vividly recounting the incident where Xia Yan rescued her. That very night, it made the local news. I was sitting at home, leisurely peeling shrimp, while my mother sat beside me, holding my hand and chattering away, advising me not to get into a relationship. Dad was busy cooking in the kitchen. The sheer warmth and bustle of everyday life nearly brought me to tears. To Mom and Dad, I was just leaving for school and coming home, but for me, it felt like a whole lifetime had passed. The earthquake scared them too, but thankfully, In the entire school, Xiayan was the only one who got hurt. Mom undoubtedly found out that I went back to look for Xiayan. I hugged Mom's arm and whined, "Don't worry, I promise I'll focus on my studies from now on. As for boys and all that, I'll think about it after I get into university." Mom sighed and stroked my hair. "It's not that I don't want you to date, I understand what it's like to be young. It's just that boy doesn't seem to have eyes for you. Liking him will only make things hard for you. Our Wanwan is so wonderful. She deserves the best boy in the world." My eyes welled up with tears as I buried my face in my mom's embrace. "Mom, I'm never getting married. I'm going to stay at home and be a burden on you forever." Okay. 6. Right before bed, I got a phone call. There was no sound, only the faint whisper of breathing. My heart tightened. Feigning ignorance, I called out hello a couple of times, then muttered weirdo and was about to hang up when Xiayan's voice came through from the other end. "It's me." Calm and measured. "Xiayan." I pretended to be surprised. "Did you need something, Yunwan? Why didn't you come to save me? You've got it all wrong," I said, struggling to keep the hatred out of my voice and forcing calm. "I went back for you. Wasn't it you who told me to get lost?" Xiayan fell silent for a moment. Then suddenly roared, "That's not how it was. It shouldn't have been like this." "Xiayan," I said, fear creeping into my voice. "Have you lost your mind?" Xiayan gasped for breath, his voice ragged. "Yunwan, Wanwan, please come back and take care of me. Help me find a doctor. Stay with me through my recovery. I can't live without you. Wanwan, I was wrong. I'm apologizing to you. I'm sorry. Please, forgive me." "Okay." Without a moment's hesitation, I hung up the phone and dragged his number into the blacklist. It felt like Xiayan had truly lost his mind, as if he could no longer distinguish the present from the past. Maybe that's for the best. Xiayan's suffering had only just begun, and the Xia family was next. I meticulously compiled a summary of Xiayan's profound love for Lu Jingjing before and after the earthquake, wrote a heartfelt post, sent it to a prominent online influencer, and even paid for some internet trolls to glorify their tragic, yet admirable, romance. The moment it was posted, it instantly went viral across the entire internet. The champion of pure love fell to his knees, who says dying for love is just an old legend. I'm slain by this man. Xiayan, the ideal boyfriend. Lu Jingjing must have saved the galaxy in her past life. Hashtags kept trending one after another. Rumor had it that Lu Jingjing had been holed up at home preparing to go abroad. And this sudden, overwhelming wave of attention left her completely at a loss. There was no way she could leave now. The Xia family seized the opportunity to drum up publicity, which forced Lu Jingjing to step into the spotlight. Dressed in a white dress, she made a pitiful declaration, vowing to take care of Xiayan forever. In the shot, Xiayan kept his head down, his expression hidden from view, because the school building had collapsed. All students except the senior high school third-year cohort were taking online classes from home. The third-year students were dispersed and integrated into another local key high school for their studies. On the day classes resumed, our homeroom teacher earnestly lectured us on the critical importance of the final year, warning us not to get distracted and emphasizing the vast opportunities that come with getting into a good university. All the while, his eyes kept darting pointedly in my direction. Rumor has it that lately, Xiayan has been asking about how I'm doing from everyone who visits him. Some people even came up to me to ask if Xiayan had feelings for me. Others felt sorry for Xiayan's situation and begged me to go see him. After all, it's hard to watch a former golden boy fall from grace. I turned them all down, explaining that I thought Xiayan wasn't quite himself these days. He really did seem a bit unhinged. One moment he was kind, the next he was irritable, and then he'd clutch his head, muttering about needing to remember how the future unfolds so he could make a fortune. The Xie family had already arranged for a doctor to administer sedatives to him daily. After all the back and forth between the Xie and Lu families, the final outcome was that Lu Jingjing would live with the Xies. Upon coming of age, she was to marry Xiayan and be responsible for him for the rest of his life. The Xie family made it clear, declaring that one must not be ungrateful. The weight of this immense obligation pressed down on Lu Jingjing, leaving her on the verge of tears. She sat directly in front of me now, her already frail frame seeming even thinner, her cheeks were hollow, and a look of profound confusion clouded her eyes. Everyone envied Xiayan's deep devotion to her, but only she knew the bitter reality of being the object of such affection. At just 17, she had to face a future with a husband who would never walk again and the prospect of a life without work. As a form of punishment, despite the Xies having maids and nurses, every single task related to Xiayan's care was left for her to handle personally. A girl in the bloom of youth, tending to a paralyzed man's most basic and unpleasant needs. Just thinking about it makes me happy. I never expected Lu Jingjing to approach me after school. Yunwan, haven't you always had feelings for Xia Yan? I'll step aside for you. Okay, just please, get him to leave me alone. 7. Are you out of your mind? I looked at the pitiful Lu Jingjing and spoke without any courtesy. Xia Yan is your savior, not mine. You two are so deeply in love it moves heaven and earth. How could I possibly have the nerve to butt in? Besides, look at him now, what's there even to like? Lu Jingjing's eyes widened in disbelief. Is your affection for him really that shallow? I scoffed. Oh, I'm the shallow one. Then what do you call this? Lu Jingjing was left speechless. She suddenly dropped to her knees and grabbed hold of my clothes. Please, Yunwan, I'm only 17. I don't want to spend my whole life taking care of a disabled man. My family is rich. I can give you a lot of money. Please, you go and look after Xia Yan. Just let me go. No. I yanked my sleeve free and stepped around her. She collapsed to the floor, her eyes vacant. I stopped in my tracks and turned to look at her. Look at it from another angle. With all the attention you're getting right now, why not film videos of you taking care of him? Ride this wave of popularity. Once you have a following, the Xia family won't dare touch you. Tough it out for a few years. Make some money. What's so bad about that? Besides, with Xia Yan's condition, who knows how many years he has left? You're just imagining the worst possible future for yourself. Once you become the Xia family's poster child and public face, when everyone in that household depends on your goodwill, what will you have left to fear? Life isn't a path with only one road to take, don't you think? A light sparked in Lu Jingjing's eyes. She sat up, vitality seeming to return to her, and murmured to herself, you're right. Who knows how many years Xia Yan has left? A faint smile played on my lips as I watched her walk away. Inspired by me, Lu Jingjing started creating short videos. She naturally had a delicate, pitiable beauty, and her innocent, pure white flower look was very popular. Xia Yan wasn't bad either, even though he couldn't move. His handsome face was still intact. Combined with their tumultuous love story, they quickly amassed a large following. Lu Jingjing meticulously cultivated her public image as the grateful and devoted good woman. She filmed and posted every single moment of her caring for Xia Yan. For the proud Xia Yan, this was a mortifying humiliation. He couldn't bear having his privacy, his most vulnerable, helpless side, exposed for all to see. Scenes of Xia Yan scowling and berating Lu Jingjing became a common sight. Videos showed her with tear-filled eyes, trembling as she cleaned up the things he smashed, or pleading with him not to be angry. Videos like this always blow up. At first, everyone was saying that Xia Yan was just taking the accident too hard, which was understandable, and that Lu Jingjing should cut him some slack. Gradually, the public sentiment began to shift. Why should Jingjing have to be understanding? He's a cripple now. Exactly, no one could have predicted this would happen, and Jingjing never wanted it either. She's owned up to her part in it since the accident. So what gives him the right to treat her like this? Even the most devoted child grows weary of a long illness. But Jingjing has done more than enough. Poor Jingjing. Occasionally, Lu Jingjing would also play the victim with red-rimmed eyes, wearing ill-fitting clothes, with faint marks on her exposed skin that even foundation couldn't fully conceal. It's hard to tell if those injuries were real or not, but netizens certainly ate it up. Everyone began to blame Xia Yan, the patient. Lu Jingjing would say with a pitiful air that she had no money for clothes. Although the Xia family was wealthy, that money wasn't hers. She was there to atone for her sins against Xia Yan. She cleverly reframed her love as a debt of gratitude. A debt of gratitude can always be repaid, and even if it can't be fully settled, one shouldn't hold it over someone's head. Lu Jingjing is really setting herself up for the future. I got so emotional that I sent a rocket gift to Lu Jingjing to show my support. I knew she was smart. She certainly didn't let me down. 8. Throughout my entire senior year of high school, I spent my time either being all lovey-dovey with my parents at home or decompressing by watching Lu Jingjing's videos. Xie Jiajiao wanted to latch onto Lu Jingjing to make short videos, constantly trying to please and show consideration for her in the clips. She completely disregarded that Xia Yan was her own flesh and blood. Gradually, Lu Jingjing grew more and more famous. If the Xia family gave her a hard time, she would discreetly film it. After being caught out a few times, Mrs. Xia finally backed off. It was plain to see that Lu Jingjing's complexion was getting better and better. She had already become a minor online celebrity. The Xia family could no longer control her. On the day the college entrance exam ended, I walked out of the testing center. The weather was beautiful, and outside, the area was packed with parents waiting for their children. I made my way through the crowd and saw my mom and dad waving frantically. In that moment, I was certain, being reborn was a stroke of luck. That evening, my classmates were making plans for a get-together. Someone suddenly announced, Lu Jingjing and Xia Yan are here too. The crowd fell silent. On the eve of the college entrance exams, a video surfaced of Lu Jingjing filming Xia Yan violently assaulting her. Public outrage ensued, and Xia Yan was taken away for investigation. It was only then discovered that he had multiple injuries all over his body, all inflicted by Lu Jingjing. Unbeknownst to the camera, Lu Jingjing had been tormenting him all along to vent her rage. Xia Yan endured it in silence, knowing speaking up was futile. The entire Xia family was powerless against Lu Jingjing. Furthermore, after each bout of torment, she would promise never to abandon him and to stay by his side through treatment and recovery. It's a mystery why Xia Yan ever believed those words. His fury erupted because he had seen Lu Jingjing's application. She's going abroad. She abandoned him once more, leaving him behind after inflicting a pain 100 times greater than in their past life. Public opinion did a complete U-turn. Seizing the opportunity, the Xia family tearfully denounced Lu Jingjing as an ungrateful and ruthless woman. Xia Jiajiao also got her wish to leave the country. Choking back sobs, she recounted Xia Yan's hopeless love, the ambiguous feelings of their youth, and the despondent he fell into after being hurt. Sometimes I can't even tell what Xia Yan's actual role in the Xia family is. A mascot. Just trot him out when he's needed, and when he's not, someone else can take over. Anyway, these two people, who don't even need to take the college entrance exam, provided us stressed-out examinees with some absolutely cathartic gossip. I just never imagined that the two of them, who are now on such bad terms, would both show up at the class reunion again. Yunwan. Just before I left, I got a text. It was only 2 words, but I had a strong feeling it was from Xia Yan. I went downstairs, and there was a black Mercedes-Benz. After a moment's thought, I stepped forward and knocked on the window. It rolled down to reveal Xia Yan's impassive face. "Can we talk?" he asked, his tone calm and even. Clutching the phone in my pocket and confirming the text had been sent, I got into the car. A dull thud echoed from somewhere. Puzzled, I turned my head. Xia Yan glanced away after a quick look. "It's a basketball in the trunk, a limited edition. I'm planning to send it to the auction house." I remember that basketball, Xia Yan's most prized possession, which he got when he was 11 years old watching an NBA game. Yunwan, how did we end up like this? He furrowed his brow, looking utterly perplexed. "Xia Yan, I think you've misunderstood. There's nothing between us," I said, looking at him sincerely. He let out a soft chuckle. "Yunwan, drop the act. I know you've come back too. What are you talking about?" "I don't understand," I said calmly, looking at him. "Is your hysteria still not better, Yunwan? You clench your fists when you're nervous. It's because you got used to carrying me up and down the stairs, having to keep your muscles tense all the time. It gradually became your little tell for any moment of unease." He lowered his head. "See, just like you're doing right now." I suddenly unclenched my fist, stared blankly for a moment, and let out a sigh. "Ah, you found out. A pity it's too late." Xia Yan gave a light chuckle. "By the time I came back, I was already lying in a hospital bed." You can't understand the despair I felt in that moment. After enduring for so long, finally reaching recovery with a bright future ahead, and then, in an instant, everything was reset to the beginning, or even worse. What really got to me was realizing that this time, without you by my side, the panic was even greater than the hatred. I don't know how I'm supposed to get through the days without you. I thought you'd still be there for me like before. But you weren't. I should have realized then that you had come back too. But I was too arrogant. I only saw this second chance as an opportunity for myself, never imagining it wasn't meant for me. "It's not like you got the short end of the stick," I cut him off. "You were so obsessed with Lu Jingjing, determined to save her across 2 lifetimes. I did you a favor by letting her stay with you. What more could you possibly want? Compared to what you did to me, I'd say I've been incredibly merciful." "The earthquake, you did that on purpose, didn't you?" He didn't look at me, nor did he offer a reply. "If you say so." I was afraid he might be wearing some other device, so I deliberately avoided making any definitive statements. Xia Yan smiled, his features relaxing into a serene expression. "Actually, I think I can understand now the desperate, all-or-nothing mindset you were in back then. It was the kind of despair that comes when you're backed into a corner with nowhere left to turn." The Xia family gave up on me. They were going to send me to a sanatorium. Lu Jingjing was released due to insufficient evidence of her abuse, and she seized the chance to file a restraining order and is planning to leave the country. He pulled out his phone with a mysterious smile. "Come here, I've got something interesting to show you." Out of curiosity, I leaned in and saw a sight that made my blood run cold. Inside the Xia family villa, Mr. and Mrs. Xia were tied to chairs. With snakes slithering all over the floor at their feet, the serpents flicked their forked tongues, slowly climbing upward. The scene shifted to an upstairs room, where a dazed Xia Jiajia found herself surrounded by a group of men. Once this is over, these men will take her away, and she'll never be seen again. Yunwan, I got revenge for you. Are you happy? His eyes sparkled with excitement, but it only sent a chill down my spine. Xia Yan, you're insane, aren't you pleased? He asked. His eyes filled with confusion. I thought you'd be happy, they're your family. I swallowed the words that were on the tip of my tongue. I do hate them, but I never intended to torment anyone this way. The Xia family's company has plenty of issues. It's just that the buzz Lu Jingjing brought and the soaring stock price are keeping things under wraps for now. Once this wave passes, the problems with the Xia family will land right on their competitors' desks. After all, I spent so many years with the Xia family in my past life. It's not like I'm completely in the dark. I looked pleadingly at Xia Yan, pinching myself hard to squeeze out tears. Xia Yan, I'm scared. Xia Yan's gaze was inscrutable, fixed on me in silence. I lowered my head, and a tear fell right onto the back of his hand. He flinched back as if scalded. Xia Yan, why are you treating me like this? 13 years. We've depended on each other for 13 years. Do you really have no feelings for me at all? Xia Yan, you probably don't remember. In our first year of high school, you helped a blushing girl buy a pack of sanitary pads outside the restroom and even gave her your jacket to cover up. That girl was me. That was the moment I started falling for you. Xia Yan, I've never been able to understand. How did the boy who once blushed, couldn't look anyone in the eye, and angrily handed a girl a sanitary pad before throwing his jacket at her? How did he end up becoming that terrifying person in the end? Xia Yan's gaze was complicated. He looked at me for a long moment before reaching out to slowly cup my face. Stop crying, he said. You look awful. I sobbed until I was hoarse, as if trying to pour out a lifetime's worth of grievances and pain in one go, and he just stood there, silently watching me fall apart. Eventually, I cried myself out. My voice completely gone, he turned slowly and said to me, get out of the car. I was stunned, lowering my hands with a bewildered look, biting my lip in confusion. He closed his eyes. Yunwan, don't make me regret this. I yanked the car door open and rushed out, running a long way. I could still see the car sitting quietly where it was. A cold wind blew, and only then did I realize my back was drenched in sweat. Shortly after taking a cab home, I saw a new report on the local news. The couple paralyzed by the earthquake were finally reunited in the explosion. In the video, the police who arrived too late captured the final scene. Flames shot into the sky, and amidst the billowing smoke, no human sound could be heard. It turned out Xia Yan had long been resolved to die. What was in the trunk wasn't a basketball at all, it was Lu Jingjing. In the end, he chose to perish with her, just as he had in their past life. I can't say for sure whether Xia Yan ever loved Lu Jingjing, but I believe she must have been the most special person to him. I knew he was ruthless and cold-hearted, but I never imagined he was also an absolute madman. All of that has nothing to do with me anymore. Word is, the Xia parents were rescued, but they were in a state of shock. Upstairs, Xia Jiajia was nowhere to be found. It was the start of the new semester. With my backpack on, I left the city amidst my parents' reluctant farewells. In this new place, no one would know me. This was my fresh start. Story 2, in our past life. The primordial god chose both my sister and me. One was the smut novel heroine system, the other the independent female lead system. My sister quickly claimed the smut novel role, forcing me into the remaining one. The primordial god informed us these systems would last 10 years. Within a decade, I built myself from nothing into a renowned CEO through sheer hard work, but my sister, devoid of any protagonist's luck, was tortured by the male leads until she became paralyzed from the waist down. When I visited her hospital room out of kindness, she suddenly plunged a syringe deep into my neck. With venom twisting her face, she snarled, "Why do you get all the glory while I end up like this?" When I opened my eyes again, I was back at age 16 on the day of system selection. I watched my sister choose the independent female lead system. Thank goodness I wouldn't be left helpless like in my previous life. My sister Shanting Shue saw me bind with the romance novel heroine system, her eyes gleaming with schadenfreude. "Darling sister, don't work yourself to the bone. I'll gladly enjoy the CEO position on your behalf." Her face radiated smug certainty, as if she'd already clenched future victory in her fist. Watching her leave, I finally exhaled in relief. In my past life, this system led me down endless detours and straight into every trap. Whenever I'm in trouble, the mere thought of seeking help would bring punishment upon me. That system won't provide you with any tools or skills, you're completely on your own. Host, you must form a contract with this system. The system's timely reminder snapped me out of my daze. After signing, I eagerly opened the in-game store. Browsing through the dazzling array of items, I went to redeem them only to find I lacked sufficient points. 1. No points. Then I'll just earn some. Opening the quest panel, I saw 2 different male leads, both with 0 initial affection points. First place, Gu Jinyan. Status, Student Council President, top-ranked academic prodigy, family background, sole heir of the prestigious Gu dynasty, personality, aloof and ascetic, rarely smiles, maintains detached indifference toward others. Second place, Lu Lin. Status, sports scholarship student, family background, heir to the Lu family. Equally prestigious as the Gu family, personality, hot-tempered tsundere, flamboyant in actions, fiercely protective of his inner circle. Reading their profiles made me raise an eyebrow involuntarily. In her past life, Shinting Shui used her body to manipulate them. After the system vanished, the male leads broke free like puppets with cut strings, subjecting her to brutal retaliation. Guess I'll need a different approach this time. My mind automatically started strategizing how to approach these 2 male leads. Though my family is comfortably middle class, in this elite high school crawling with rich kids and rigid social hierarchies, I'm at the absolute bottom of the food chain. Host, don't panic. As a newbie perk, I can let you enter one of the male leads' dreams. What? There are newbie benefits. This is some premium treatment. Having chosen tonight's target, I left the space in high spirits. Ting Xue. Why did you give up piano and ballet? Did she say something to you? Just as I stepped out of my room, I heard Mom's voice coming from the living room. My sister said you've spent all the family savings on me, leaving her without a comfortable life. It's my fault. Who does she think she is? You'll always be our precious daughter. Dad chimed in. She didn't grow up with us. You're our pride and joy. Shinting Shue sobbed pitifully. I can't upset my sister. I'll practice at home with videos. Her happiness means everything to me. The female protagonist system forbids Shinting Shue from using others' money for self-improvement. In my past life, my parents didn't object when I transferred to a regular high school. When they learned I'd cover all tuition and living expenses without costing them a penny, they praised me for being sensible. Shintinglan, get your ass out here right now. In the living room, our parents hovered around Shinting Shue. Their faces etched with anguish and fury. The moment I appeared, Mom jabbed a finger at me and snapped. How could you be so selfish? Tinglan, Ting Shue has sacrificed so much for you. What more do you want? Dad glared icily and added, we didn't raise you all these years just to watch you bully your own sister. Shinting Shue hid behind her mother, a faint smirk playing on her lips as a glint of triumph flashed in her eyes. I knew she was reveling in this moment. Savoring the thrill of watching me get scolded by our parents, it was my fault. I won't ever bully my sister again. The thought of Shinting Shue having to scrape together tuition money for herself suddenly made these reprimands feel insignificant. Seeing my sincere attitude, my parents let me go. Back in my room, the system said I could bring 1 item into the dream. I began preparing for tonight's dream journey. In the dream, I watched Gu Jinyan working in the study. Dressed in a bespoke black suit, though still a student, as the future heir of the Gu family, he had to get acquainted with the family business early on. Meanwhile, I sauntered toward him in the system-provided sexy bunny girl outfit, swaying in red stilettos. Jinyan, won't you help little old me? I clung to his arm, rubbing against it coquettishly. With the system's assistance, Gu Jinyan quickly showed a reaction. Though he remained expressionless, the subtle bob of his Adam's apple betrayed him. What do you want to do? His gaze burned with danger and desire when he looked at me. I'm completely clueless about what comes next. Could you teach me? I bit my lip, putting on a pitiful expression. He suddenly pulled me into his arms, his breath hot against my skin. For you, I'd do anything. He carried me to the bed, preparing for what was to come. That's awesome. Thank you for agreeing to teach me. I quickly wriggled out of his arms and slapped the math test paper open on the bed. I'm completely lost on this final problem, but I know you can teach me, math genius. So we spent the whole night in bed working through that final math problem. The next morning, I felt completely refreshed as if I'd drained Gu Jinyan like a succubus. Gu Jinyan's affection plus 10, current affection, 10100, points obtained, 100, rubbing my eyes while checking the details. I couldn't help but chuckle. Just imagining Gu Jinyan actually tutoring me all night in my dreams. From trigonometry to basic calculus, too, interesting, I murmured to myself, this free one-on-one tutoring session would be a waste if I didn't claim it for my own. The system deserved better. As I stretched, A notification suddenly popped up on the system panel. Special achievement unlocked. The charming bookworm. Description. Stayed focused on studying despite the distraction-filled PO system. Reward points, 50. I couldn't help but laugh. This system's got quite the sense of humor. I opened the store to redeem learning-related items, only to find them shockingly expensive. In my past life, I never had enough energy for studies, forced into sales, drowning in liquor, networking, and disdainful looks. This hard-won status came at the cost of both physical and mental torment. That's why I crave a sharp mind and formidable learning abilities. Shinting Shue was frying eggs in the kitchen when I came downstairs. She wore faded loungewear, clumsily flipping the spatula with unpracticed movements. This was part of the self-reliance clause mandated by the female protagonist system. Her eyes burned with envy when she saw my energetic demeanor. Seems you've already settled into your new role. Don't overindulge yourself to death in bed. Without getting angry, I pointed at the frying pan. You should worry about yourself first. Food poisoning means paying hospital bills out of pocket. Shinting Shue let out a shriek. Seeing her misfortune put me in an even better mood, so I hummed a tune on my way to school. The elite high school's campus remained as opulent as ever. Fountains, sculptures, and meticulously manicured gardens. Every detail reeks of affluence. Wearing my school uniform, I walked through the deserted campus, sensing a state of mind utterly different from my past life. In the classroom, I started working on test papers, applying last night's study techniques. Sure enough, problems that once baffled me suddenly became solvable. Only when hunger pangs struck did I reluctantly set aside the workbook. The cafeteria buzzed with lunchtime chatter as I carried my tray to a quiet corner. Just as I opened my notebook to study, a shadow fell across the pages. Looking up, I saw Gu Jinyan standing before me, faint dark circles under his eyes. Did you figure out last night's problem? His voice was soft, yet it rippled through the air like a pebble breaking water surface. Thanks to you, my thoughts are much clearer now. I feigned composure. And if I still don't understand, you could teach me passionately, with all your might, just like last night, until you're completely spent. The latter part carried a deliberately suggestive tone, dripping with innuendo that invited wild imaginations. Gu Jinyan's affection +5. Current affection 15100. He set down his tray and sat across from me, instantly drawing hushed whispers from those around us. Who's that woman? The chairman is actually having lunch with her. Could she be a business partner of the chairman's family? The cafeteria murmurs spread like wildfire. Gu Jinyan's slender fingers tapped the desk, and all those prying eyes instantly withdrew. Trigonometric substitution. Why do you keep making mistakes with this? I nearly choked on my soup. Is this genius seriously treating a wet dream like a math tutoring session? 3. So, President, are you going to tutor me personally? I deliberately leaned forward, letting my uniform collar slip suggestively. The tips of his ears turned visibly red, though his expression remained aloof. Come to the student council after school. He handed me a gold-embossed business card before taking his leave. Gu Jinyan's affection +3, watching his retreating figure. I mused how rare it was to meet such an innocent man these days. Amusing. As I pondered how to approach the second male lead over lunch, he unexpectedly came looking for me first. Hey, you're the woman who's been seducing Gu Jinyan, aren't you? The voice came from above. Looking up, I was met with a striking head of fiery red hair. Lu Ling stood before me with one hand in his pocket, his athletic jacket casually draped over his shoulders, revealing well-defined arm muscles. He looked down at me with a dangerously appraising gaze. Thought you were a good student, but you're no different from those women trying to seduce Jinyan. He gave me a disgusted look before leaving with his crew. Lu Lin's affection -10, current affection, -10,100. My mind was racing with questions. Does he have feelings for Gu Jinyan? Is he seeing me as a love rival? Are you sure this isn't BL content? These penalty points make 0 sense. I silently questioned the system in my mind. Honey, I'm a 100% straight system. Me and that queer system next door are sworn enemies. Damn, now I'm low-key shipping you too. The school bell had barely rung when Dad's text came through. Shintinglan, your sister's crying about refusing her allowance, claiming you threatened her. Don't expect another cent from me starting now. Shintingshi is miserable and wants to drag me down with her. Not a chance. Before heading to the student council, I slapped myself hard twice. Tears instantly welled up. In this disheveled state, I went to meet Gu Jinyan. The student council door was ajar. When I pushed it open, Gu Jinyan was bent over grading papers, the delicate shadows of his eyelashes cast by the light behind his gold-rimmed glasses. Without looking up at the sound, he said, "Bring out last week's monthly exam papers." Okay, I answered obediently, my voice trembling slightly with unshed tears. I shrank into the seat farthest from him. Only when Gu Jinyan noticed my silence did he finally look up at me. What's wrong? With red-rimmed eyes, I cautiously lifted my gaze to Gu Jinyan, my fingers unconsciously twisting the hem of my school uniform. It's nothing. Just my sister taking her anger out on me. I phrased it ambiguously. Even if Shenting Shui accused me of slander, I'd have grounds to defend myself. Gu Jinyan's gaze lingered on my swollen cheek for a moment, his pupils contracting slightly behind gold-rimmed glasses. Did she hit you? No, don't blame her. It was my carelessness. I bit my lower lip and shook my head, but tears kept falling uncontrollably onto the desk. Gu Jinyan's affection +5, current affection 20100. Compared to my sister's blatant seduction in the previous life, this method of evoking protective instincts suits Gu Jinyan's personality much better. Come here, he spoke suddenly, his voice deeper than usual. I timidly shuffled to the seat beside him. He took out the first aid kit from the drawer and gently applied ointment to my cheek. The icy touch made me shiver involuntarily. Does it hurt? No, I forced a smile, just thinking about some difficult homework problems. Gu Jinyan's fingers paused briefly before continuing to apply the medicine. His fingertips carried a cool touch, moving with such gentleness as if handling something precious and fragile. By the way, what's your name? He put away the ointment before finally asking for my name, Shen Tinglan, Class 3 Grade 11, come to the student council after school every day, I'll tutor you. My eyes blinked rapidly, tears welling up, but that's too much trouble, I don't want to burden you with my problems. It's no trouble at all. Gu Jinyan's affection +5, current affection, 25100, I lowered my head, a faint smile curling at the corners of my mouth. My strategic retreat seemed to be thoroughly enjoyed by this aloof academic genius. When I left the student council, night had already fallen. The campus lay in perfect stillness, illuminated only by the amber glow of street lamps. Suddenly, a dark figure blocked my path. Hey, you spent so long at the student council. What were you doing with Gu Jinyan? Lu Ling crossed his arms, hostility burning in his eyes. Are you jealous? I take back that fragile image I showed Gu Jinyan before. Having met all kinds of people in my past life, I know you've got to be tough with someone like Lu Lin. Jealous? What the hell are you talking about? Lu Lin's ears turned crimson instantly, his fists clenched so tight they cracked. I'm just warning you to stay away from Jinyan. I tilted my head, studying his furious expression, then suddenly laughed. What are you, his guard dog? He lunged forward, pinning me against the lamppost, his scorching breath hitting my face. You looking to die or something? Warning, Lu Lin's favorability -5, current favorability, -15,100. Instead of backing away, I rose on tiptoe to whisper in his ear, you're so concerned about Gu Jinyan, could it be you've taken a liking to me? Shut up, we grew up together, I can't stand gold-digging women like you. Though his tone was fierce, his flushed ears betrayed him completely. Why are both male leads so innocent like this? I leisurely smoothed out the wrinkled school uniform. And what exactly is young Master Lu doing, ambushing a female classmate at night? Wouldn't this damage the Lu family's reputation if word got out? Lu Lin's expression froze instantly. I tried to slip past him, but he grabbed my wrist. Wait, he ran his fingers through his hair irritably. Did someone hit you? None of your business. I tried to pull my hand away, but he only gripped it tighter. Fuck. He suddenly cursed and shoved a tube of ointment from his pocket into my hand. Swiss import, won't leave scars. Isn't that what you girls care about most? Your pretty faces. You're wrong, I said, meeting Lu Lin's gaze unflinchingly despite looking up at him. Appearance is the least significant thing about a woman. Lu Lin froze momentarily, his brows furrowing. Then what do you care about? Dignity, freedom, and conscience. Lu Lin's grip loosened slightly, the hostility in his eyes fading a little. He sneered, playing hard to get. Don't all you girls just coast by on your looks? So you're saying your mother only became the Lu family head because of her face? In my past life, President Lu was the role model who guided my path. Warning, Lu Lin's favorability -20, current favorability, -35,100, special event triggered. Lu Lin's forbidden topic. Lu Lin's eyes darkened instantly as he gripped my chin with bruising force. Who the hell are you to mention my mother? Gritting through the pain, I managed to speak. I just want you to know women can be far stronger than you imagine. Did your mother run the entire Lu family by pleasing men? Lu Lin's hand trembled slightly before finally releasing me. He took a step back, his voice hoarse. Go, rubbing my sore chin. I turned to leave. After a few steps, Lu Lin's deep voice came from behind. What's your name? Shintinglan. Lu Lin's affection plus 30, current affection. Minus 5,100, points obtained, 200, special achievement unlocked, Scalebane challenger, scene. Making a clean escape after provoking the male lead's bottom line, reward points, 100, watching Lu Lin's soaring favorability toward me. I adopted a completely different approach from Shintingxue in my past life to conquer the male lead. Physical infatuation eventually brings clarity, while personal charisma endures forever. The moment I stepped in and saw Shintingxue sobbing with our parents' stormy expressions, I knew this night would be anything but peaceful. As I entered, Father sprang up and jabbed a finger at me, roaring, "Shintinglan, what in God's name have you done to Tingxue? Didn't she tell you herself? How dare you talk back?" Mother clutched Tingxue protectively, her voice trembling. "Xue says you threatened her and stole her allowance. What kind of monster are you?" A faint smirk played at Shintingxue's lips, her eyes flashing with triumph. I knew she was putting on an act again. My father stormed up to me, raising his hand to strike me across the face. With the system's assistance, I nimbly dodged his swinging palm. "You didn't even ask, yet you're convinced it's my fault." I glared at them coldly, my voice trembling with suppressed rage. "Schwer is crying her heart out, and you still dare to make excuses." Mother shrieked accusations at me as if I were some unforgivable monster. Shintingxue let out a perfectly timed sob, her red-rimmed eyes locking onto me. "Little sister, I know you dislike me, but you can't treat me this way. I just want us to get along." Her acting skills have reached new heights, summoning tears on command as if she'd suffered some grave injustice. "Get out. Don't come back until you've learned your lesson." With father completely taking Shintingxue's side, this house has become unbearable. 5. I packed my essentials in a hurry and left without a second thought. The door slammed shut behind me, severing the last thread of familial bonds. Just as I was about to book a hotel room, my phone buzzed with a message from Gu Jinyan. "Left my tutoring notes at the student union. Don't forget to pick them up tomorrow." I stared at the screen when an idea suddenly struck me. "I can't come to school tomorrow." "Are you sick? Got kicked out by my family, nowhere to go. Send me your current address." In less than half an hour, a black Maybach pulled up nearby. Gu Jinyan rolled down the window and motioned for me to get in. Inside the car, I clutched my bag with exhaustion written all over my face. What on earth happened? I briefly explained the family conflict. After a moment of silence, he said, "You can stay at my place for now." Though I'd gotten what I wanted, I still feigned hesitation. "This doesn't feel right. We haven't gotten your parents' permission." He ruffled my hair. "They're overseas. It's just me at home." So I moved into Gu Jinyan's place without any pretense. Gu Jinyan's home was an understated yet luxurious villa in the city's most exclusive neighborhood. Stepping through the gate, I was awestruck by the sight before me. The vaulted living room and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked a meticulously manicured garden, while the minimalist yet tasteful decor spoke volumes about the owner's status. "Your room is on the right side of the second floor. Let Mrs. Jean know if you need anything." Mrs. Jean respectfully took the luggage from my hands. I thanked Aunt Jean, then feigned awkwardness as I glanced at Gu Jinyan. "I'll find a new place soon. I won't overstay my welcome." Gu Jinyan adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses. "No need to rush." Gu Jinyan's favorability plus 5, current level, 30100. I breathed a silent sigh of relief. In my past life, I've survived in basements, shared apartments, even park benches. Getting to stay in a place like this now feels like winning the lottery. The bedroom turned out to be more spacious and comfortable than I'd imagined. As soon as Aunt Zhang left, I immediately checked the system panel. Today's interactions with the two male leads were quite fruitful. My points have accumulated to 450. That's enough to exchange for some beginner-level items. I opened the store and my eyes locked onto the Basic Learning Accelerator. This item boosts learning efficiency by 30% for 1 week, costing only 350 points. Redeem. A faint glow flashed, and suddenly my mind felt remarkably clearer. As I flipped through the notes Gu Jinyan lent me, those complex formulas became surprisingly easy to grasp. The next morning, I was startled awake by Aunt Zhang's knocking. After a quick wash, I hurried downstairs to find an exquisite breakfast already laid out. Gu Jinyan was reading the financial newspaper and gave me a slight nod as I descended. "Wasn't sure what you'd prefer, so I had the chef prepare both Chinese and Western options. I'm not picky, I'll eat anything." This was a lingering effect from my past life. Gu Jinyan set down the newspaper. "Make yourself at home, you're living here now." His tone remained even, but his gaze softened noticeably. Gu Jinyan's affection plus 3, current, 33100. After breakfast, Gu Jinyan asked me to ride to school with him. Just have the driver drop me at the bus stop. I'll take public transit to school. Don't you want to arrive at school together? Gu Jinyan's voice actually carried a hint of grievance. That's not the case at all. It's just not good for your reputation. With my irresistible charm and thoughtfulness, you're totally smitten, aren't you? True to form, Gu Jinyan wordlessly pulled me straight into the car. Do you really think I care about idle gossip? 6. There was a hint of barely perceptible tenderness in his tone. But I don't want to be a bother to you. If I was worried about trouble, I wouldn't have let you move in. Gu Jinyan's affection +2, current, 35100. In the end, I still ended up riding to school with Gu Jinyan. When the Maybach bearing the Gu family emblem parked at the school gates, all eyes instantly locked onto it as whispers rippled through the crowd. Is there someone extra in the student council president's car? Oh my god, who's that? They actually get to walk to school with the student council president. Wait, I've seen that girl in the cafeteria before. The president approached her first. I pretended to be scared while tugging at Gu Jinyan's sleeve, secretly flaunting our ambiguous relationship. The whole way, Gu Jinyan deliberately slowed his pace, seemingly to match my walking speed. His actions drew more stares, but I couldn't care less. On the contrary, I quite enjoyed this special treatment. The moment I entered the classroom, a group of girls swarmed around me. Hey, what's your deal with Gu Jinyan? A tall girl with curly hair took the lead, her eyes burning with hostility. We're just classmates. Just classmates. Then why did he personally walk you to school? Another girl sneered. You'd better stay away from the student council president, or you'll regret it. So Gu Jinyan was this popular among the girls. In my past life, I never paid attention to school gossip. I only saw news reports about girls who crossed Shintingxue. Their families were bankrupted by the Gu and Lu conglomerates, some even driven to collective suicide. A sudden commotion erupted at the classroom entrance. Lu Ling strode in with his lackeys, his icy gaze sweeping over the girls surrounding me. What's all the racket? Can't you keep it down this early? His voice was quiet, yet carried an undeniable authority. The girls immediately fell silent and dispersed with sullen expressions. Lu Lin walked up to me and said, "Come with me for a moment." Being approached by the school bully Lu Lin usually spells trouble. As I left, I could clearly sense the gleeful stares from my classmates. He took me to the rooftop and dismissed his lackeys. Did you stay at Jinyan's place last night? He got straight to the point. Yeah, Lu Lin didn't expect me to be so blunt. Have you no self-respect? Would you jump into bed with anyone who's rich? The moment he finished speaking, my sharp slap landed across his face. Lu Lin staggered from the blow, clutching his cheek with disbelief flashing in his eyes. Gu Jinyan only took me in because I had nowhere to go. How dare you insult me with such filthy assumptions? Tears spilled uncontrollably down my face as I glared at him defiantly. Lu Lin's expression shifted from anger to shock, eventually tinged with a hint of panic. His lips parted as if to retort, yet no words came out. Seizing the moment, I lowered my voice with self-deprecation. Right, someone abandoned by their family probably doesn't even deserve dignity in your eyes. With that, I turned on my heel as if to leave. Wait, you got kicked out of your home, and Jinyan took you in. What else? What other motive could I possibly have? Gold digging to become his girlfriend? What exactly happened at home? My sister framed me. My parents played favorites. I was always the black sheep anyway. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. I ignored him and turned to leave the rooftop. That's not what I meant. His voice dropped uncharacteristically low, tinged with frustration. I stopped in my tracks without turning back, my voice icy. Any further instructions, young Master Lu? It was my misunderstanding. I didn't know the full truth. Lu Lin's favorability +15, current favorability, 10100. Seeing the favorability turn positive, I reluctantly forgave him. I turned around, forcing calm into my voice as I met his gaze. I accept your apology, but I don't need your pity. It's not pity. Lu Lin ran a frustrated hand through his hair before pulling keys from his pocket and tossing them to me. It's one of my properties near campus, sitting empty anyway. Might as well have you stay there. Thanks, young Master Lu. Call me Lu Lin. Keep calling me young master and I might just take that key back. Lu Lin's affection +5, current affection, 15100. Is this what they called tsundere? I asked the system. Textbook definition of its tsundere. In the end, I moved into Lu Lin's apartment. It wasn't that Gu Jinyan's place was bad, but the system reminded me to maintain balance when pursuing both male leads simultaneously. Lu Lin's penthouse in the upscale neighborhood boasts minimalist decor with understated luxury in every detail. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the glittering city skyline at night. 7. Gazing through the window, I couldn't help but murmur, being rich must be nice, if you like it. It's yours, Lu Lin said it half jokingly, half seriously, but I turned him down. Gifts should only be given willingly from the heart. In the days that followed, I attended Gu Jinyan's tutoring sessions by day and reviewed at Lu Lin's apartment by night. The progress with both male leads was steady, while Shenting Xue wasn't faring so well, ever since binding with the independent female lead system. She had to rely entirely on herself to stay in her current high school. This pampered girl began trading household chores for substantial pay, but the system flagged the income-labor mismatch. Banning such loophole exploitation, Shenting Xue had to abandon this shortcut and seek alternative solutions. She started working weekends at a convenience store, but couldn't handle the hardship and got fired soon after. Her life became increasingly strained, and her once pristine school uniform gradually grew shabby whenever we crossed paths on campus. Her eyes burned with jealousy and resentment. If I'm suffering, you're going down with me. Shenting Xue's retaliation came swifter than expected. The school forum was flooded with candid shots of me with Gu Jinyan and Lu Ling. That's her. Rumor has it she's stringing along both Gu Jinyan and Lu Ling. How shameless. She'd do anything for money. Seems like she'd sleep with anyone for the right price. Just the cheapest kind of smutty rumor. These petty rumors are nothing compared to the malice from my past life. Shentinglan, how did our family end up with trash like you? Shenting Xue's loud voice drew the attention of nearby classmates. I never thought you'd sleep with two men at once just for money. My eyes welled up instantly as I blinked. Sis, I didn't. Stop playing the victim. Do you all know she'd do anything for money? She even cut ties with her own parents. The murmurs around us grew louder as Shenting Xue smirked at me with the confidence of certain victory, yet her triumphant grin froze mid-smile, for Gu Jinyan had appeared without warning. Recalling their past life intimacy, Shenting Xue's cheeks flushed with coy delight, completely forgetting how they'd exacted their revenge. What's going on? Gu Jinyan turned to look at me. Before I could respond, Shenting Xue cut in. Jinyan, haven't you noticed anything strange lately? This woman has ulterior motives toward you. Gu Jinyan's gaze swept coldly over Shenting Xue before settling on me, a flicker of concealed concern flashing in his eyes. Malicious intentions. Spreading rumors carries legal consequences. Shenting Xue's face instantly drained of color. She never expected Gu Jinyan to openly take my side. I was just worried she'd deceive you. She stammered out an explanation. Is there a problem with Shentinglan asking me for tutoring help? I never expected Gu Jinyan to make our private matters public. Since when is it forbidden for classmates to help each other out? My voice trembled with tears as I looked at the onlooking classmates with a pitiful expression. Sensing the situation turning against her, Shenting Xue gritted her teeth and suddenly raised her voice. Don't be fooled by her. She's a scheming gold digger who only goes after rich guys. The surrounding classmates began whispering among themselves, unsure whether to believe Shenting Xue's accusations. Just then, a lazy voice drifted from the back of the crowd. Well, what's all the fuss about? Lu Lin strolled over with his hands in his pockets. Shenting Xue visibly stiffened at Lu Lin's appearance, never expecting him to get involved in this matter. I'm just warning everyone not to fall for her tricks. Lu Lin let out a derisive laugh as he walked over, casually ruffling my hair with practiced ease. Trick Jinyan into tutoring her, or con me into taking her in. His words detonated like a bomb through the crowd. How did she manage to charm both the top student and the school bully at the same time? Ugh, I'm so jealous. I wouldn't even dare to dream of pulling that off. As public opinion began to shift, Shenting Xue tried to spread more rumors, but Gu Jinyan cut her off. Enough. If you keep spreading lies, the student council won't just stand by and do nothing. Shenting Xue knew the student council wielded considerable power. Gritting her teeth, she shot me a venomous glare before turning on her heel and storming off. I hung my head, feigning fright while secretly delighting in my triumph. This time, Shenting Xue not only failed to gain any advantage but actually boosted both male leads' favorability toward me again. Gu Jinyan's favorability plus 10, current favorability. For 5100, Lu Lin's affection plus 10, current, 25100, points earned, 150, after school. As I walked alone back to my apartment, a familiar figure suddenly blocked my path. We need to talk. Shenting Xue's face darkened, her eyes brimming with resentment. I stopped in my tracks and regarded her coolly. What do you want? Just climbing the ladder by seducing men. What's there to be so smug about? A thought seemed to strike her, her tone dripping with schadenfreude. 10 years from now, when they're free from the system's control, you'll endure their deranged abuse just like I did. 8. I watched Shenting Xue's contorted expression in silence, the corner of my lips curling slightly. You've misunderstood something crucial. I never used any tools to control their actions. stop pretending to be noble. Without the system, you're nothing. But I never stooped as low as you, whoring myself out to please them, instead of wasting time with me. You'd better figure out how to survive these 10 years with your system intact. Shintingshua's eyes darkened with malice as she hissed through clenched teeth. Shintinglan, don't celebrate too soon, you'll pay for this, I'll be watching with great interest. With a faint smile, I turned and walked away, completely ignoring Shintingshua's hysterical curses. A week later, my parents came straight to my school. When the homeroom teacher summoned me to the office and I saw their grim expressions, I knew trouble was brewing. The moment they saw me, my parents slammed the table and stood up. Father pointed at me and roared, Shintinglan, your sister is missing. Did you have something to do with this? Mother's eyes were bloodshot as she shrieked. She hasn't come home for days, her phone's unreachable. Where are you hiding her? I looked at them calmly. She's been gone for a week. Why come to me instead of reporting to the police? Who else could it be? Father bellowed. You've always resented her, constantly picking on her, and now you dare play innocent. The homeroom teacher tried to mediate, but was interrupted by the mother. Teacher, you don't understand. This child has been wicked since childhood. Tingxue is such a kind soul who'd never offend anyone. She spread rumors about me seducing men and publicly humiliated me at school. Is this what you call kindness? My father was momentarily speechless, but quickly regained his anger. She was just worried you'd go astray, and you repay her concern with betrayal. Enough, this is a school. We're fully prepared to cooperate with police investigations if needed. The homeroom teacher finally spoke up to intervene. Just then, the office door swung open as Gu Jinyan and Lu Lin entered one after another. Teacher, what's going on here? Gu Jinyan's voice remained calm and steady as his gaze swept between me and my parents. Lu Lin stepped directly to my side, his tone sharp. Who are you? What's all this shouting about? My father froze momentarily upon seeing them, clearly recognizing who they were. His demeanor softened slightly, though the fire in his eyes still burned. She sold my daughter God knows where. I demand justice from her. How can you be so sure Shintinglan did this? Do you have concrete evidence? Gu Jinyan asked calmly. The father hesitated before finally saying, she's my daughter. Don't you think I know what she's capable of, sir? If you continue making baseless accusations against our student, I will take legal action. Father's face turned ashen, clearly taken aback that someone would stand up for me. If anything happens to Gua Tingxue, you'll pay for this. He stormed off with those threatening words, dragging mother away from school. With the farce over, I left the office too. Followed closely by Gu Jinyan and Lu Ling. Only after leaving the teaching building did Lu Lin finally blurt out, your parents are absolutely unreasonable. I'm used to it, I replied flatly, though a pang of bitterness welled up inside. In every lifetime, they've always taken Shintingshua's side, never showing me an ounce of warmth. I used my points to track down Shintingshua's whereabouts. She's working at the high-end Nightfall Club. That club masquerades as an upscale venue, but hides shady dealings, catering exclusively to the elite with special services. Through the system, I saw Shintingxue dressed provocatively while drinking with some rich playboy, drunk with desire. They clung to each other like ravenous beasts moving in primal rhythm. As expected, she sold her body for money without hesitation, but I still underestimated her. Not only did she earn money this way, she also used a client's influence to drug and kidnap me. Yes, I was kidnapped by her men and taken to an abandoned warehouse. Several masked men stood nearby, casually flipping sharp daggers in their hands. Awake, one of them approached and lifted my chin with the tip of his blade. You are quite the looker. No wonder Miss Shin asked us to take special care of you. I fought back my fear. How much did she pay you? The man sneered. What? Trying to buy us off? No, I looked up at him. I just want to know what my life is worth in her eyes. The man froze momentarily, clearly taken aback by my composure. Miss Shin promised an extra 500,000 if I disfigure your face and take some compromising photos. Shintingshua's methods turned out to be even more despicable than I'd imagined. What if I give you 1 million? Would you let me go? The man looked me up and down. You look like you can't even scrape together 10 grand, and you think you can bribe me, boss? She's messing with you. Realizing he'd been played, the man snarled, you little bitch, still a virgin, huh? I'll break you in proper and show you what a real man feels like. As he lunged to tear my clothes off, I drove my knee straight into his groin. 9. The man doubled over in pain, his face turning deathly pale as the dagger clattered to the ground. Seeing this, his accomplices immediately rushed forward. You're dead, bitch. One of them landed a heavy blow across my face. Cripple her. Miss Shin just wants her alive. I'd like to see who dares lay a finger on her. It was Lu Lin's voice. Behind him followed Gu Jinyan and several bodyguards. Lu Lin's eyes flashed with fury as he charged forward, kicking the nearest man away from me with a single powerful strike. Gu Jinyan swiftly untied the ropes around my wrists, murmuring, "It's all right now, we're here." Fortunately, I'd prepared in advance, spending all my points to exchange for 2 disposable tracking devices, which I'd hidden in protective charms and given to them. My taut nerves finally relaxed, my legs buckling as I nearly collapsed. Gu Jinyan caught me in his arms, shielding me protectively. "Where's your employer?" Lu Ling grabbed a masked assailant by the collar, his voice seething with restrained fury. "No idea. She said she'd contact us after the job was done. Tell her the mission succeeded, lure her here. Then give her exactly what she made you endure. Just don't kill her." Lu Lin gave final instructions to the bodyguards before taking me from the factory to their affiliated hospital. The doctor confirmed no additional injuries, and only then did the 2 men finally relax. Gu Jinyan affection plus 30, current level, 75100, Lu Lin's favorability plus 40, current level, 65100. "Don't worry, we'll help you get revenge." I looked at them both. "If Shenting Shui arrives, please escort me back. I'd like to have a word with her." Gu Jinyan and Lu Lin spoke in unison. "If you're really worried, you can come along. Actually, there's something I need to get off my chest with you guys." I asked the system if I could tell them about the whole conquest plan directly. The system said it's fine as long as I'm prepared to risk mission failure. Watching their affection meters nearly maxed out, I made up my mind to come clean. After all, I despise deception. My conscience would haunt me for life. Upon reflection, my only motives were leveraging the system to connect with them quickly, using their help to improve my grades and secure temporary housing. Beyond that, my conscience is clear. When Shenting Shui arrived at the factory, triumph written across her face, she never expected to be greeted by my unharmed self the moment she pushed open the door, along with Lu Lin's icy glare and Gu Jinyan's look of disgust. "What are you doing here?" Shenting Shui clearly didn't expect these 2 to show up here. A realization dawned on her as she turned to me. "You're controlling them through the system, aren't you?" "What system?" Gu Jinyan immediately latched onto Shenting Shui's key phrase. "You've all been played by her. She's bound to some trashy romance novel system, using cheap tricks to seduce men." Hearing Shenting Shui's confession, I dropped my act too. "She's right, I do have a system, Gu Jinyan. That night I entered your dreams with its help. It was the only way to get close to you quickly." I turned to Lu Ling. "As for you, I was planning to use the system to approach you. Never expected you'd come knocking on your own. I knew you had an ulterior motive for getting close to Jinyan." Lu Lin wasn't as angry as before. Instead, he looked smug, like he'd uncovered the truth. I expected Gu Jinyan to be furious about being deceived, but he just gave me a resigned look. "So you really just used me to improve your grades?" I nodded and said, "Yes. But later I realized you're someone I can truly trust." "Thanks. What about me?" Lu Lin asked me challengingly. "You might have a temper, but your heart's in the right place." I smiled at him. Then I confessed everything about the system selection and my past life. Seeing the situation turning against her, Shenting Shui screamed hysterically. "Don't be fooled by her. She's just acting. She only wants to use her body to extract wealth and money from you. That's just you." The mere thought of their intimate encounters with Shenting Shui in their past lives, even sharing her, made Gu Jinyan and Lu Li's blood run cold. Their expressions darkened instantly. Shenting Shui's face drained of color as she staggered backward. "It's not what you think. Let me explain. Explain how you manipulated us with your system, or how you framed Tinglan in this lifetime." Shenting Shui was backed into a corner, her panicked eyes darting around before finally locking onto me. Her expression twisted into fury. "This is all your fault. If it weren't for you, I'd never have sunk this low." I met her gaze calmly. "These are the consequences of your own choices. The system was just a tool. You chose the vilest path. It's time you faced the consequences of your actions." They took me away, and I knew they'd send someone to handle this. We remained silent the whole way until we reached the apartment. When Lu Lin was the first to break the silence, "Tinglan, would you be my girlfriend?" Gu Jinyan also confessed his feelings. "I really like you. Will you be my girlfriend?" "Congratulations. Gu Jinyan's affection for you has maxed out." "Congratulations. Lu Lin's affection for you has maxed out." Caught off guard by their simultaneous confessions, I froze in place. 10. The system chime kept ringing in my mind, announcing the successful completion of the mission. "I'm sorry. You all deserve someone better." "Why?" Lu Lin never expected me to turn them down and wanted to know the reason. "I can't forget your entanglement with her in our past life. I still can't accept this." They froze. never expecting that events from their previous incarnation would lead to these two prodigies being rejected. Gu Jinyan nodded, understood. I'll make you accept me. Before Gu Jinyan's words faded, Lu Ling frowned, love can't be forced. I'll respect your choice and prove I'm nothing like my past self. I never expected them to react this way. I thought they'd just walk away after the rejection, cutting all ties. Words failed me. Last life was the system's control. But this time, my choice comes from the heart. After that heart-to-heart talk, they began looking after my studies and daily life with meticulous care. Rumors about us spread across campus, and they openly admitted to pursuing me. Over the next decade, I got into my dream university and built my own business empire leveraging their connections and resources. Meanwhile, Shen Tingxue, driven to insanity by the torment, was left to rot in a mental asylum. As for my biased parents, they repeatedly tried to beg for my forgiveness, but I kept shutting them out. I even warned them they'd face the consequences if they kept harassing me. After that, they never bothered me again. As the 10-year deadline approached, a system alert chimed in my mind. Host mission complete, system unbinding imminent. I stood by the floor-to-ceiling office window, gazing down at the city lights. Over the past decade, I built my business empire with Gu Jinyan and Lu Ling steadfastly supporting me, yet never crossing boundaries. What's on your mind? Gu Jinyan's voice came from behind as he held a cup of steaming tea, his gaze gentle yet restrained. The system is about to unbind. I took the teacup, our fingertips brushing briefly before pulling apart. Lu Ling pushed the door open with a document in hand. Tinglan, the European partners have agreed. His radiant smile faltered when he saw Gu Jinyan, pursing his lips in mock annoyance. How did you beat me to it again? A decade later, they remained unchanged, one quietly composed, the other vibrantly bold. System unbinding countdown, 10 minutes. Thank you both for these 10 years. Gu Jinyan frowned slightly. Why bring this up all of a sudden? Lu Ling reached out to feel my forehead. No fever. I swatted his hand away, my eyes growing moist. Without the system's influence, would you still remember me? Both men froze simultaneously. Lu Lin was the first to react, grabbing my wrist tightly. Do you think our decade of feelings was just the system's charity? Shen Tinglan, do you even have a heart? Gu Jinyan followed up, actually. The system stopped working the day you rejected us. System unbinding countdown, 5 minutes. I stared at them in stunned silence. Indeed, over these 10 years, they had countless chances to walk away, yet they chose to stand by me through it all. I'm just scared. You're not her. Lu Lin suddenly dropped to one knee and pulled a ring from his pocket. Shen Tinglan, I told you 10 years ago that I'd prove myself. Now, will you make it official with me? Gu Jinyan quietly retrieved a velvet box from his suit pocket. I've carried this for 7 years, never dared to show it. System unbinding countdown, 60 seconds. As I stared at the 2 gleaming rings, my fragile armor finally shattered. Can I have both? System unbound. As the final alert tone faded into the air, I felt something being pulled from within me, only to be replaced by a far warmer presence. Lu Lin laughed heartily as he swept me up in a spinning embrace. We should have done this ages ago. Gu Jinyan slipped the ring onto my finger, then pressed a gentle kiss to my forehead as he whispered, let's grow old together. Story 2. I chased He Shichuan for 10 years. It was not until the year I turned 30 that my family went bankrupt. Under a series of blows, I finally collapsed and drove my car into the lake. He Shichuan rushed to save me at all costs. In the end, he ran out of strength and died with me. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back 10 years ago and decided not to be that bad woman who bullied others by relying on her power and forcefully changed his life trajectory. I will support you. When you earn money, you can pay me back 10 times the amount. I'm only interested in money, nothing else. Later, as expected, he became a young talent worth hundreds of millions of yuan earlier than in his previous life. However, he hugged me in his arms full of hostility, only interested in money. Right, be my wife. And I'll give you half of my fortune. When the cold lake water submerged my body, I wasn't afraid at first. My life had been so terrible that death became a kind of salvation. But I didn't expect He Shichuan to come looking for me. He smashed the car window with his titanium alloy mobile phone again and again. It's no use. Go back quickly. I shouted at him hoarsely. I had pestered him for most of his life, adding countless hardships to his originally smooth and uneventful life. But at the last moment of my life, I wanted to let him go. He Shichuan was very stubborn. Once he made up his mind, not even 9 oxen could pull him back. Just like before, when he said he hated my methods, no matter how eloquent I was or how many tricks I played, he remained unmoved. But I didn't expect that his stubbornness would not yield even in the face of life and death. As I watched him exhausted and sink to the bottom of the lake with me, I secretly thought in my heart, if I could start my life over again, I would definitely return his freedom and future to him and treat him with all my heart. The moment I saw He Shirchuan again, I knew what an empty promise was. In the stuffy and narrow back alley, He Shirchuan curled up in the corner, his handsome face, full of youthful spirit, had bruises on it, and I was mesmerized by him all over again. My cheap younger brother, who was good at pretending to be cute and pitiful at that time, had a sneaky smile on his face. "Sister, I heard you have a crush on him. But he still doesn't buy it. You should have told me earlier. I'll train him and give him to you." I smiled silently. "Is he trained now?" "I've trained him halfway. I went to the school of his deaf sister and took a few photos, and he obediently came with me. There has to be some wildness left to make it interesting. If he's too obedient, it's no fun." While Gu Lianqing was talking, I kept staring at He Shirchuan, watching his fists clench and then loosen. He was so pitiful, my proud and unyielding young wolf cub, at this moment, had his claws pulled out and his fangs ground down, allowing a beast like Gu Lianqing to step on him. So I mustered up my strength and slapped Gu Lianqing hard. My hand went numb. "Who gave you the right to touch him? You've only been in the Gu family for 2 days, and you've already forgotten to abide by the law." Gu Lianqing was obviously stunned by my slap and even forgot to hide his fox tail. He gritted his back teeth, and it took a long time for him to force a smile on his face. "Sister, you're in a bad mood today. Let's talk about it later." After Gu Lianqing left, I squatted in front of He Shirchuan and reached out to touch the abrasion on his face. He quickly shook off my hand, and his tone was full of coldness. "Don't touch me." He Shirchuan 10 years ago couldn't control his emotions well. His happiness and anger were all written on his face, unlike later, when he was like a frozen lake. No matter how hysterical I was in front of him, he would only frown slightly and then say indifferently, "Stop acting crazy, thinking of those unpleasant things in the past. I wasn't in a good mood. Let's go. Invite me to your place, otherwise I'll call Gu Lianqing back." The rented room was damp and stuffy. He Shirchuan was wearing a thin white t-shirt and fixing the air conditioner. His clothes were soaked with sweat, and his firm back muscles were like a taut bowstring, making my mouth go dry. After a while, the old fan made a whooshing sound, and a gust of warm air almost made me faint. He Shirchuan walked down as if no one else was there and started doing his exercises on the greasy dining table. From beginning to end, he treated me like air. I opened his old refrigerator, which looked older than my grandfather at his age, and barely scooped out a few pieces of ice. I wrapped them in a greased paper bag to make a simple ice pack. Then I eagerly ran over to curry favor. "It will heal faster if you apply it." He stopped writing and suddenly looked me up and down. Then he said seriously, "I'm sure I don't like your type." Ouch, what a harsh thing to say. But I'm a mature woman with a psychological age of 30 now. I'm not so easily provoked. "Tomorrow is Friday. Are you going to pick up your sister at school?" With a bruised face, he was stunned for a moment and pursed his lips. "She definitely won't ask you what's going on. She'll just tell you with a smile that she's doing well at school and then cry alone under the covers." As soon as I finished speaking, He Shirchuan snatched the ice pack from me. It's so easy to manipulate someone with a weakness. I felt my not-so-noble thoughts starting to stir again. Maybe my true nature is dark, and even if I start over, I won't become completely pure. So I stared straight at his 2 fair and delicate collarbones and threw out the bait again. "Your sister's deafness can be cured. Pick her up tomorrow, and I'll take her to the hospital for a checkup." He Shirchuan's sister, He Shirwei, has congenital nerve deafness. Only by having surgery to implant a cochlear implant can she regain her hearing. The surgical fee isn't extremely expensive. But for He Shirchuan now, it's still far beyond his means. As he listened to me, his expression didn't change because of it. "Why are you helping me? I have a crush on you. You're so good looking." He Shirchuan sneered, and his eyes were as cold as frost, shining with a cold light. "So what's the price? You pay the money, and I sleep with you." If this had been said in my previous life, I would have definitely nodded immediately. After all, half of the reason why I pestered him for so long was that I was lusting after his body, but now I'm quite calm, mainly because I've already had him. "What kind of person do you take me for? I just want to have a proper relationship with you. Besides, you're at least a tall guy of 1.8 meters. Do you think I'd force myself on you?" I didn't expect He Shirchuan to be so innocent. My words, which were as innocent as they could be, actually made him blush. At the age of 30 with a 20-year-old face, meeting He Shirchuan, who was also 20 years old, was really much more interesting than in my previous life. If it were Gu Shengwan at the age of 20, she would only be eager to throw money at people. If that didn't work, She'd play dirty tricks and then blatantly declare her sovereignty. She looked arrogant and overbearing, but in fact, she was selfish and pitiful. I can't have died in vain, this time. I also want to learn what it means to win someone's heart and take my time. Your arm is also injured. Sit still, I'll make you something to eat. I said this seriously and then ran to the kitchen, ready to show off my skills. For someone like me who has lived a pampered life, doing manual labor can best show my sincerity, so I opened Douyin, found a 1-minute egg pancake tutorial, and started making food. Half an hour later, the pot was broken. And there was a massive charred and unidentifiable object inside. It was burnt on the outside and raw on the inside, with carcinogenic substances on the outside and salmonella inside. After thinking about it, I still served it on a plate and brought it to He Sichuan. This is the first time I've cooked, although I tried my best. It's inedible. Don't deduct points from me because of this. I said I have a crush on you, and I mean it. I'll perform well and strive to be your girlfriend as soon as possible. After saying these words, I took off my apron and made an appointment for an expert consultation in the otorhinolaryngology department in front of him. I'll go back to the company for a meeting tomorrow afternoon. After the meeting, I'll go directly to wait for you at the school gate of Sherway. Don't doubt my motives. Because if I had any malicious intentions, with your current resources, you wouldn't even be qualified to sit at the same negotiation table with me. I thought I had shown enough sincerity and generosity, so I didn't care about his reaction anymore and planned to go home and deal with my father. I slapped that ungrateful wretch Gu Lianqing today. He must have gone back and told my father bad things about me. If you can really cure my sister, I won't owe you this favor for nothing. I'm not interested in having a relationship. But my body is at your disposal at any time. He Sichuan looked serious, and his eyes when he looked at me didn't dodge. I should have said something big to dispel his doubts. I said I would take my time in this life, so why did it turn into a deal of money and sex again? But this time he brought it up himself. I've slept with He Sichuan, but I've never slept with He Sichuan at the age of 20. I'm really tempted. Because I was thinking about what He Sichuan said about being at my disposal at any time. I was particularly enthusiastic about getting He Sherway treated. I drove to the door early the next day and waited, but He Sichuan was even earlier. Standing side by side with him outside the school wall, I had the feeling of going to pick up a child from kindergarten together. The little deer in my chest was going crazy. Don't worry, Sherway's condition will have a very good result after the surgery. She will be able to regain her hearing soon. In fact, in my previous life, I paid for her surgery. After she regained her hearing, I signed her up for classes to learn to speak again. In the end, when I died, she had already become a rising star painter. However, probably because I used to bully her brother a lot in my previous life, she didn't have a good relationship with me. Before she could speak, every time she saw me, she could make sign language so fast that it left an afterimage. When she recovers, I will fulfill my promise. He Sichuan seemed to think that I was reminding him not to renege on his debt, and he reiterated it expressionlessly. My old face turned red, and I said angrily, I said I'm not after that. He Sichuan frowned. You don't want to sleep with me. Of course I do. A woman at the age of 30 is very passionate, especially wanting to try a young and strong guy like him. But I want other things too. I want to try if in this life, if I open my mouth, spend money, don't do bad things, and chase him honestly, can I really win him over? As I was thinking this, He Sherway rushed over like a gust of wind, and her hair swept past my ear, feeling like a big slap in the face. He Sichuan's face was like the melting of ice and snow. In 2 lifetimes, I rarely saw him look so sunny and happy. Family love is really great. I also smiled like a flower and took the initiative to greet her. However, I don't know sign language, so I could only poke He Sichuan and motion for him to introduce me. The brother and sister communicated in sign language, and I could only stand by and smile. Then we got in the car and went to the hospital together, and I felt like a driver again. Anyway, because of my memories of my previous life, I easily found the best doctor for her, explained her condition clearly, and even brought up the precautions myself. I was like a worried and responsible mother. After all this trouble, the doctor immediately came to the conclusion that she should be hospitalized immediately, and the surgery could be done next Monday. For such a simple matter, I tortured He Sichuan for a whole 3 years in my previous life, and I felt guilty myself. I typed on my phone, don't worry, this doctor is very authoritative, you'll be better soon. She also replied to me on her phone, why are you helping me? I was stunned for a moment, and her expression immediately became vigilant, and her fingers fluttered. Did my brother promise you something? I was still hesitating how to answer when He Sichuan turned her around and started signing rapidly. Finally, she reluctantly put down her hand, but she still looked at me unfriendly. While He Sichuan went out to go through the formalities, I quickly tried to get on good terms with my future sister-in-law. You have a really good relationship with your brother. He cares about you very much. She typed on her phone much faster. We've always depended on each other for survival. Don't worry, I'm here to help you. And I have no ill intentions towards your brother either. I still wanted to tell her that I just wanted to chase her brother, but her phone was already in front of me. He's not my biological brother. He was just raised by my parents, and we have no legal relationship at all. I stared at the phone for a while before I understood the meaning of these words. The shock at that moment was even greater than my anger. I just felt it was incredible. Why was the truth that was so casually revealed at the beginning of this life something I couldn't figure out even when I died in my previous life? I always thought that all his alienation, indifference, and harshness were due to his resistance to my unilateral suppression. I never thought that maybe he just simply didn't love me. My heart, which was full of enthusiasm, turned cold. Many things that I couldn't figure out before became clear. I was deceived by a name. With my stupid brain, what's the point of being reborn? Just thinking about how I had seriously confessed to him before, I wanted to find a hole to crawl into. Just listen to the doctor and get treated well. I simply said hello and then left. There was nothing to be angry about. Since I was reborn, I should have stayed away from them. Fortunately, it wasn't too late to wake up. I'm a sophomore now. When I don't have classes, I also intern at my family's company. Leaving He Sichuan aside, I actually have a lot of things to do. In my previous life, I fought tooth and nail with Gu Lianqing. In the end, I gained control of the company with a narrow margin. But I didn't expect that what I got was a time bomb left for me by Gu Zhenhai. When the crisis broke out, Gu Lianqing went overseas with a huge clean deposit and lived a carefree life, while I was left with an empty shell company. Burdened with debts and suffering from illnesses, in the end, I died in despair. It couldn't be worse than in my previous life, right? Back at school, I focused on listening to the class. Only by getting into the top 3 in my major could I be eligible to apply for a major transfer. I don't want to study business administration anymore. I have nothing to manage in business. I like traditional Chinese medicine. In the future, I can take people's pulses and diagnose their illnesses. And at the same time, I can adjust my own body. I don't want to be like in my previous life, becoming a medicine bottle at a young age. A month later, I saw He Sichuan again in the school library. This time, there was a warmth in his eyes that hadn't been there before. My sister's surgery was very successful. The cochlear implant has been activated, and she's adapting well. Hearing him say my sister, I felt like laughing a little. That's good. You can also focus on completing your studies. He Sichuan was the gold medal winner of Li Qingtou's physics competition and the apple of the eye in the school's physics department. He originally had a bright future. However, in order to earn money for He Shui's surgical expenses, he missed too many classes and experiments. The teachers who had high hopes for him were extremely disappointed in him. I continued to flip through the identification of traditional Chinese medicine in my hand, indifferent to his affairs. He Sichuan also sensed the change in my attitude and frowned slightly. I said that if you could cure my sister, I wouldn't owe you this favor for nothing. He came to me to fulfill the promise. He was willing to compromise himself for the person he loved. It's hard to comment on this. No need. After not seeing you for a month, the novelty I had for you has worn off. Let's write off all the past things. Write off all the past things. He Sichuan stared at me with disbelief written all over his eyes. Oh ho, I'm letting him off the hook. So why is he still offended? Are you reluctant to part with me? I deliberately tilted my head and teased him. You were the one who said that you don't like my type. It's impossible to have a relationship, and only your body can be at my disposal at any time. Do you think I'm so cheap? I don't care about my dignity just to sleep with you once, right? As I spoke, my nasal voice became heavier, mainly, when I thought of those stupid things I did to chase him in my previous life. I silently felt that it wasn't worth it for myself. Why didn't he just say he had someone he liked? Was he afraid that I would hurt her? He just watched me make futile efforts and suffer inexplicably. I wrongly played the role of a villain for him, but he didn't even bother to tell me the truth. I had thought that since he sank to the bottom of the lake with me to save me at the last moment, he must have liked me to some extent. It turns out that he's just a kind person. He Sichuan was a bit confused by my sudden outburst of anger, and I didn't plan to explain anything to him. No matter how many grudges and entanglements there were in the previous life, in the end, They were all paid off with one life, leaving aside feelings. He is indeed a very good person. I didn't mean that. You helped me, and I want to thank you. Then just study hard. Don't think about anything else. I was so annoyed by him that I couldn't focus on reading the book anymore. I packed it up and prepared to go back to the dormitory. Sherchuan reached out to stop me, looking hesitant to speak. Just say what you want to say, I said impatiently. Sherwei still needs money for the follow-up maintenance of her cochlear implant, and she wants to study fine arts. I want to send her to an art studio for professional study. Could you please sponsor us some more money? I will pay you back in the future. So it was still about money after all this. In my previous life, I went bankrupt in the end and was burdened with debts. I knew the embarrassing situation of how a single penny could stump a hero, so I didn't look down on him because of this. What's more, with his academic ability and later investment talent, he would achieve great things in the future. To be honest, I don't have much talent in making money. In my previous life, I racked my brains but couldn't come up with a way to solve the financial crisis. Instead, I pushed myself into severe depression. I don't want to fight with myself anymore. Accepting that I have areas I'm not good at and making the best of my strengths and avoiding my weaknesses is the way to get along with myself. I will sponsor you another sum of money, but this is a purely business act. I require a contract to be signed. When you earn money in the future, you have to pay me back 10 times the amount. I'm only interested in money. Is that okay? It's a profitable business that's too good to pass up. He seemed to be surprised by what I said. After hesitating for a moment, he nodded. Since then, I consciously kept a clear distance from him, but it seemed that he would automatically appear in front of me every once in a while, always having something to ask me. Sometimes he would give me breakfast on the way, sometimes he would ask me about the preferences of a certain teacher, and sometimes he would use his position as the vice chairman of the student union to ask me for sponsorship. In short, he was just like those annoying flies that surrounded me. He didn't like me, yet he liked to provoke me. What a jerk. And my father finally called me home after receiving the first notice of my major transfer. What do you mean by this? Such a big thing as changing your major. Why didn't you discuss it with me? What's the big deal? I'm not cut out for business in the first place. Now I'm just returning to my true self. Not cut out for business. Gu Zhenhai's face turned green, and he spoke to me sharply. I've spent so much effort cultivating you to be my successor, and now you're telling me halfway through that you're not suitable for this. Ha, I couldn't help but sneer. Do you see me as your successor or a fool? You know best in your heart. I'm too lazy to argue with you anymore. Don't you like your precious illegitimate son? I'm taking the initiative to make way for him. What else are you dissatisfied with? Slap. My father's slap was quite loud. Lianqing told me that you were bewitched by a poor student, and I didn't believe it. Now it seems to be true. I have nothing to do with him. Transferring money to his account is just a normal sponsorship for him. You can check his academic performance at school at any time. What's wrong with my making an early investment? Dad, why, don't love me? Perhaps from the moment this question arose, it never needed to be asked out loud. I went to the hospital to see Sherchuan. Both of his legs were in casts, and he was lying pale on the hospital bed resting. Sherwei was tearfully guarding by his side. Suddenly, she turned her head and saw me standing there, and immediately rushed towards me like a cannonball. There was another flurry of dazzling sign language, like making seals. Didn't you regain your hearing? Have you done any language recovery training? She was stunned for a moment and quickly took out her phone to type. Is it because of me that you took revenge on him like this? I ignored her and walked straight to Sherchuan's hospital bed, then pushed him awake. Sherchuan seemed to be extremely tired and opened his eyes reluctantly. When he saw it was me, his eyes immediately lit up. He forced a smile for me with great effort. His voice was still hoarse, but he still spoke to me word by word. You're here. I'm okay. I was too lazy to look at his sickly appearance and turned my head away. Facing my back to him, what did the doctor say? Are your legs disabled? No. I will work very hard on my rehabilitation. Be smarter in the future and stay away from people you can't afford to mess with. I took out a thick envelope from my bag and placed it on his bedside table. This is for the medical expenses, and it's also the last sum of money I can sponsor you. I'm going to get married, so take care of yourself. Suddenly, my wrist was firmly grasped by a force. I turned around and saw that the smile on Sherchuan's face had completely disappeared, replaced by deep paranoia. I'm not afraid. I will find a way. Ha, I laughed, and tears fell along with my laughter. Then I forced his fingers apart one by one. You see, it's you who doesn't have the ability to keep me. People who are incompetent are destined to bear the loss. Give me some time. Believe me just this once. He hurriedly took out a USB drive from the drawer and said to me, "This is the surveillance video from that day at home. It's evidence of his illegal behavior. We will always find an opportunity. Why should we admit defeat from the start? The Gu family has been in business for 3 generations and has deep roots. What makes you think that a single video can bring him down? Moreover, if it really does bring him down, I will have nothing left. What makes you think that I will betray my father for you? Have you been good to me? What have you given me?" He Sichuan, "This time I'm sorry for you, but when it comes to feelings, it's me who refuses to forgive you." He Sichuan still refused to give up. He struggled to get out of the hospital bed, but fortunately, He Sherwei stopped him in time. Walking out of the hospital, I felt a sense of relief as if I had nothing left. I even had the leisure to call that person when I got into the car. She was on the other side of the ocean, and it was probably late at night there. I didn't expect the call to be answered, but amazingly, this time she picked up the phone in an instant. "Mom," I called out this strange word whose pronunciation even became off-key, and tears streamed down my face. "Why did you give birth to me but then abandon me? You left me all alone in this world, so lonely." Without waiting for the other side to speak, I hung up the phone. There won't be any response that I want to hear. It's just that when people are helpless, they always miss their mothers, even if she doesn't care about me. I didn't meet the person my father arranged for me. Given that I had lived one more lifetime than others and knew some things that others didn't know, I found a good family for myself. Su Shuli, the eldest son of the Su group, was my fiancé with whom I had a pleasant cooperation in my previous life, and we hit it off again in this life. He had a first love who he held dear to his heart, unfortunately. She was a third-tier actress from an ordinary family and couldn't meet the requirements to enter the Su family just right. He relied on me to open the back door for them. 3 years later, in a private luxury restaurant, a beautiful couple was sweetly having a candlelit dinner. There was also a poor guy sitting alone on the terrace on the second floor, enduring the cold wind. Suddenly, there was a commotion and the sound of a fight downstairs. Su Shuli's weak screams were mixed in among them. There was also an angry and familiar voice. "Scoundrel, how dare you betray her?" I stumbled and rolled down, trying to save Su Shuli, but it was He Sichuan who fell to the ground. He was pushed to the ground and couldn't get up. His metal walking stick was thrown aside, but his upper body still maintained an attacking posture. Not feeling at a disadvantage at all, "Get out of my way, don't touch him." I frantically pushed aside Su Shuli's group of black-clad bodyguards and carefully helped He Sichuan up. He Sichuan looked at me as if he had seen a ghost. "You were here, you let them do this right under your nose. Otherwise, do you think it's easy to be a wealthy daughter-in-law, as a nominal wife without a backer and not favored? What else can I do except whitewash the piece for my philandering husband?" I said angrily. Su Shuli recovered and put on an act like an award-winning actor. "Gu Xiangwan, clean up your own mess. If you dare to cause even the slightest unseemly incident, don't blame me for being rude to you." When He Sichuan heard this, he wanted to rush up again, but I held him back tightly. "Get out of here now." I turned my head and shouted at Su Shuli. He took the opportunity to leave, strutting out with his beloved. He even winked at me and thoughtfully left me the key card to their anniversary suite on the second floor. What the hell is all this about? Who wants to do this? Weren't you very tough when you kicked me away? How did you end up in such a situation? You were actually bullied like this when you're with someone else. He Sichuan was still speaking sarcastically to me, but my eyes were only fixed on his legs, which didn't seem to show any abnormalities. "What about you? Didn't you say your legs were okay? Why are you using a crutch? Didn't you do your rehabilitation properly?" His gaze was cold. "Don't you think it's too late to care about me now? You didn't call me even once in 3 years. I thought you were having too much fun to think about coming back. How do you know I'm not?" Su Shuli has a beauty in his arms. Can't I have multiple women by my side? A marriage without love also has the advantage of being free and unrestrained, I retorted without showing any weakness. "So you're free and unrestrained now. What about me? With my inconvenient legs? I wonder if I'm still lucky enough to make you forget everything else for a while." After not seeing him for 3 years, this guy is now sharp-tongued. Indeed, in just 3 years, He Sichuan now is no longer what he used to be. He studied under the physicist Li Qingtong and has been studying in the United States for the past 3 years. He has developed an internationally top-notch brain-computer chip, which has greatly promoted the development of medicine and applied physics. With such a background, making money is just a side issue. Not to mention in China, there are plenty of top international companies that have extended an olive branch to him, but he refused them all and insisted on returning to China to start a business from scratch. He received strong support from the local government, and now the enterprises under his name are valued at over 100 million yuan. With an even brighter future ahead, we were still not in the same world. But our positions had been reversed. Mister, he is joking. With your current worth, I'm afraid the women who want to stand by your side would fight tooth and nail for the chance. Such a minor flaw can only be regarded as a slight blemish on a piece of white jade. On the contrary, it's a kind of charm. Charm. His voice was alluring. I don't understand. Teach me. He quickly picked up the room card that Su Shuli left for me, holding a walking stick in one hand and taking my hand in the other. He walked firmly towards the second floor. Fine, if it's about indulging in a moment of pleasure, I'll accompany him to the end. As soon as we entered the room, I took the initiative to take off my clothes. Considering his inconvenience with his legs, I even consciously unzipped his pants, but I failed. Gu Shengwan, did I say this was how you should teach me, wasn't it? He had been flirting with me verbally for a long time, and anyone would have understood it that way. Now he was putting on such an expression at the last moment, I was a bit speechless. He Chuan, are you a sore loser? If you can't take it, forget it. I put my clothes back on and turned to leave, but he trapped me in his warm embrace. Gu Shengwan, are you an idiot? After being reborn once, you ended up living like this mess. I froze, looking at him in disbelief. He Chuan, you're back too. He nodded, his gaze patient and eager. Then he let out a soft sigh and directly covered my lips with his. We had been apart for too long, and those passionate entanglements were still in the previous life, but he was not at all unfamiliar with my body, and he easily made me feel dazed with desire. My lips hurt from being bitten. He Chuan didn't give me a chance to catch my breath at all. In his intense gasps, it seemed that there was overwhelming hatred brewing. Just like before, I suddenly felt very scared. Scared of exposing my body, scared of exposing my emotions. In such an intimate moment, people become unprecedented honest. Whether it's love or disgust, it's clear at a glance. So I was always very afraid that those feelings of liking him that I had carefully hidden beneath the iceberg would be completely captured by him and then casually discarded. Not being able to get the one you love is really embarrassing. Close your eyes and focus. Someone pinched my chin, forcing me to accept him more completely. He didn't really have much skill. His actions gradually lost their rhythm, and he was left with just brute force. I didn't know anything. I just knew to follow him closely and be with him. I had forgotten those memories of liking him so much that my heart ached, but my body remembered. When everything calmed down, I was so tired that I just wanted to fall asleep as soon as I laid down. But this crazy He Chuan couldn't settle down. He hugged me tightly and started talking. Fortunately, in this life, you didn't drive yourself into the lake. I'm content with that. Do you know why I was able to go to the United States? I really didn't know that, so I casually asked, why? He combed through my hair with his fingers and explained lightly, it was your mother who sent me there. All these years, she didn't contact you, and she didn't dare to. But she still secretly inquired about your life and tried to help you solve your difficulties. So what? Is she a good mother? I retorted sarcastically. Of course not. I just want to tell you that there's no absolute dead end in life. If you had been willing to look for her at the end of the last life, maybe things could have taken a turn for the better. Or, what if you had looked for me? At that time, I already had the ability. Why didn't you come to me in the end? I thought of that unbearable past, and I felt that the warmth in my body faded a bit. I wrapped the quilt around myself more tightly, trying to suppress the soreness in my chest, but I still couldn't hold back the heat in my eyes. He Chuan, I hate you, I said through gritted teeth with a trembling voice. He peeled me out of the quilt like unwrapping a rice dumpling and looked straight at my face, which was a mess from crying. Then he said softly, I'm sorry. Did I make you very sad and wronged? Why didn't you come to confront me? Giving up your life without a word, was it a punishment for me? I shook my head. No, I was just too tired. I tried my best but couldn't hold on to anything. No one loved me. I didn't know where things went wrong, but I was just too tired. He Chuan, why didn't you like me? After such a long time, I finally dared to ask him face to face. He was silent for a moment, as if he was also trying to think about this question. Because I was stupid and didn't realize it, I defined the discomfort I felt when I was with you as not liking you. I was also too weak and didn't know what to use to resist the pressure from your family, so I could only keep running away. I thought at that time that I had to become strong enough to be worthy of standing beside you, not as your pet or your burden, but as someone who could stand side by side with you. I'm sorry. I was immersed in my own emotions and ignored your feelings. I didn't know you were suffering so much. My indifference wasn't towards you, but towards myself. I hated my own powerlessness. He unconsciously held me even tighter. It was the kind of panic after losing and regaining something, and he could only use all his strength to lock me in his arms so that I couldn't go anywhere. So this is what it feels like to be passionately loved by someone. It's like being soaked in warm water, feeling warm and cozy, but I didn't forget to ask about something else. What about Sherway? Why did you lie to me that she was your sister? He didn't understand at first. After a while, he said uncertainly, she is my sister. Liar. I punched him angrily. You have no blood relationship or legal relationship with her. Why didn't you make it clear? He looked at me a bit wronged. It makes no difference to me. After my parents passed away unexpectedly, her parents took me into their home and treated me like their own son. If it weren't for them, I would have been living in poverty in some unknown place long ago. I've always regarded her as my real sister. Then why do you both have the surname he? Our village is called Hajia village. I was silent. It turned out that the so-called love rival was just something I imagined, and I thought I had discovered something important. Did you misunderstand something? What did Sherway say to you? No. I just accidentally found out that you two aren't biological siblings and thought you were deliberately lying to me. Then from now on, let's be honest and clear about everything, okay? Don't keep things to yourself and keep guessing. He was coaxing me patiently, and I almost fell for it. Fortunately, I came to my senses at the crucial moment. We're just reminiscing about the past. Who said there's a future with you? I'm Mrs. So now, I kicked him and sent him tumbling to the ground. Sherchuan climbed up from the ground with a confused look on his face. Even the madam in a brothel doesn't turn against someone this quickly. What nonsense are you talking about? I threw a pillow at his face, and then I ignored whatever he said and slept until dawn. Sherchuan hadn't had such a satisfying encounter for a long time. After finally having his fill, he was so excited that he didn't know what to do with himself. Early in the morning, he arranged dozens of kinds of Chinese and Western breakfasts. He also sent someone to run errands to a nearby mall and bought more than a dozen sets of complete women's dresses. When I woke up from my sleep, I saw him acting like a male peacock, showing off everywhere and seeking praise. Crazy, just SOSO. After having breakfast and tidying up my makeup, Sherchuan urgently wanted to establish our relationship. You two are in a fake marriage and live your own lives, right? Then let's find some time today to get a divorce certificate. We can't get one, I replied stiffly. Why? Sherchuan's voice suddenly became tense and cold, and his eyes looking at me were fierce, completely lacking the tenderness from the previous night. I originally wanted to scare him, but I was so intimidated by him that I told the truth. We didn't actually get married. Where are we going to get a divorce certificate? It was a business marriage from the start, and neither side was really interested, so the wedding was held on a small scale in a hasty manner, and the wedding dress was rented temporarily. As for getting the marriage certificate, it was even more impossible. No one wanted to cause trouble for themselves. They colluded to make 2 fake certificates to fool their families, and that was it. Are you saying that you're single and available to be pursued? Sherchuan was so excited that his tone changed. If he had a tail, it would definitely be wagging like a propeller at this moment. Sort of. But if you really want to pursue me, you still have to perform well. Only then will I consider it. After hearing this, he seriously knelt down in front of me and showed me his personal property on his phone. I still remember that when you sponsored me that money, you said you were only interested in money and that I had to pay you back 10 times the amount in the future. All these years, I've been desperately saving up my wealth, just in case one day if you didn't like me, you might still like my money. Don't worry about the Gu family, they can't do anything to you anymore. As for whether you want to stand by and watch or show mercy in the future, it's all up to you. Gu Shengwan, be my wife, and I'll give you half of my fortune. I actually had a lot of things I wanted to settle with him, but nothing was more important than agreeing to him at this moment. Where's the ring? I tried my best to control my emotions, but I was almost about to blow a snot bubble. I didn't bring it. Just promise me first. Okay, I promise you. From now on, every word you say is evidence in court. If you go against any of it in the future, you will face severe legal punishment, I declared bluffingly, my fingertips turning white from gripping tightly. Xiangwan, you're more important than my life. I was deeply touched and was just about to continue pouring out my heart to each other, but Sherchuan suddenly locked the door from the inside again and messed up the clothes I had just put on. It's no use. Go back quickly. Sherchuan, what are you doing? Didn't we just, yesterday, you scoundrel? Men have nothing but useless thoughts in their heads. He thought I was being too noisy and gave my butt a hard pat. Then he leaned over and coaxed me in my ear. Every time we did something serious in the previous life, it was like a fight, and we didn't start until we were in our 30s and our physical strength wasn't as good. Don't you want to try me when I'm younger? he did have a point. I tried it once, and then again, in the